Hello everybody and welcome to our A-Main on Sunday. It's great to have your company whether you're at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin and listening in around the circuit, or whether we find you on a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday evening as it is in the UK, Europe, just after 8 o'clock on a Sunday night in the UK, just after 9 in Europe. Maybe it's already tomorrow morning where you are and we're into a Monday. Thank you for taking some time to join in with us here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. We've got a cracking 2 hours and 40 minutes to go with 47 cars on the count them. 47 cars on the grid, and they will be doing battle on a circuit that is one of the best in the world. It's as simple as that. It's been around for over half a century, and a huge crowd at Road America spread around the 4 miles and 14 corners. The beauty of this place is that it's set in what is effectively a national park. Locals call it the National Park of Speed for the USA. And it means that there are spectators at every corner. Turn 1, insanely quick entry, particularly for the GTPs, and then it's pretty much downhill all the way to turn 5. Get that one right, because that's a tough braking area. Up the hill to 6, down the hill to 8, through the carousel, and then from Canada Corner all the way up to the start-finish line. It is uphill. Magnificent place to go racing, and absolutely brilliant place to watch road racing. Hello, my name's John Rainbow, and this is our live coverage from the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. My broadcast partner, as ever, is Jeremy Shaw. We'll speak to Shea Adam in the pit lane in a moment. We're just completing the first 4-mile formation lap. Jeremy Shaw into the last part of the season, the run to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for the finale in Motul Petit Le Mans, and the championships in all of the classes are pretty finely poised, and here has often been a turning point in the past. This is where you get your momentum going as you run to the end of the season.
Yeah, very true, John. Just 3 races to go for the GTPs, 3 races to go for LMP2, and 4 races to go for the GT and GTD Pros. And yeah, it's crunch time now. Yeah, most of the championships pretty finely poised, as you say. The one outlier there is GTD, where Russell Ward and Philip Ellis got a pretty strong lead, having won 4 of the 6 races in the Winward Mercedes, and they start in the top 5 again today. So they're just looking for consistent finishes from here on out. Everybody else is looking for wins.
Shea Adam is our voice and our eyes and our ears in the pit lane. Shea, there's been a few stories of redemption, not least already with the BMW M Team RLL. Destroyed their car in final free practice, didn't get that car out for qualifying due to not the fact that they hadn't rebuilt it in time, but they found a sensor issue, and that was affecting the hybrid problem, and they had to go back into the car. But that car is out and ready to go.
Oh, it's out, and to be honest, the best redemption story probably of the prototypes was Ben Keating, who did have a huge crash in the United Autosports USA Oreca. They managed to repair the car. Ben qualified at 2nd, and I saw Ben at breakfast this morning. He had a huge smile on his face. He's ready for today's race. It's been a year since he last won a race. Hard to believe, considering Ben Keating's record in all forms of motorsport. He is ready to go today.
And he will start on the outside of the front row. He repaid the team's hard work, United Autosports USA. I know that Gary Robshaw is out there looking at the organisation for that. Oh, we've just had a spin for the 25 BMW. That's Connor De Filippi on the warm-up lap, but he will be able to retake his position on the outside of row number 3. It is Philippe Albuquerque and Jordan Taylor for the 10 and 40 Wayne Taylor Racing Acuras. Acuras have been great here down through the years. A lot of the lap records in various different categories, including the old LMP2, the old DPI and the current GTP, are all held by Acura. 10 and 14 lock out the front row. Then it's the Cadillac of Renger van der Zande with Jimmy Bruni, the best of the Porsches for Proton competition. In P2, EO Racing and United on the front row. And in GTD Pro, it's the Corvettes locking out the front row for the GT cars. Split start then with all the prototypes coming to the green flag. The green is in the air and the two Acuras are close together. Very nice start indeed from the Acuras as they're closed up so that nobody could get by them. In fairness, it was a very nice start, and I'm sure that was choreographed in the Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti truck beforehand. Sean Creech Motorsport, the number 33, Tony's Casamets with the guys this weekend. He went live. He went wide at turn one. Here comes the Corvettes. Can they manage the start of the GTD field and the GTD Pro field? Yes, they can, with Ferrari and Lexus right in behind them. Jimmy Bruni, as Jeremy mentioned, the man most likely, and he's trying to make up positions as they go. The leaders go up the hill towards the Corvette bridge, but at the moment it is Jordan Taylor, I think, who has got away in a spin for Pipo Derani. I think he was helped into that at turn 6, and now he's going to have to wait, get that car in gear. Thank goodness for the gap between the prototypes and the GTs, because that has given people an opportunity to slot back in. And one of the Corvettes is off at turn 5. That is, I think that's the number 4 car. There are 2 to choose from, but I have a feeling that that is the pole sitter. I think that was Katzberg. And we'll try and get that for you. No, it was the 3. Hindhoff has 2 to choose from, picks the wrong one. Alexander Sims, winner last time out at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and is in the kitty litter. The 31 and 3 pit boxes are together, and we go to full course yellow for the Corvette. Now, it's a long lap here, Jeremy. They may be able to get that car out without losing a lap.
Yeah, they're certainly going to hope so for that team, because they're looking to make it 2 wins in a row here, as you say, having won last out from the pole position at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and the safety team are on the scene pretty quickly, and with a bit of luck they'll be able to get that car out again. But what a great that first lap that was for a whole bunch of drivers, particularly Jimmy Brier. Did get help there, didn't he, from, looked like that was Nick Tandy, I think.
Bedfordshire Bullet. And what happened to Corvette number 3? That was a hit as well. That was Ford on bow tie. So that then would have been Mike Rockenfeller, I think, in the 64 Multimatic Ford Mustang. And a healthy, respectful rivalry. And indeed, here is the 64 in the pit lane. Shea Adam has the news.
The pit board went down. Now remember, closed pits, so this is emergency service only. So Mike Rockenfeller must have radioed back to the team that there was something more wrong, that he could continue around safely until the pits would reopen when we would go back to green. I'm going to see what they look at here. They're putting the car up on an air jack. The right front tire moved in a way in which it shouldn't when they put the car up on the air jack. I'm going to say that's broken right front suspension.
Oh dear. That's not good news early on. The emergency service, the pits are closed, as Shea rightly said. So normally you wouldn't be able to come into the pit lane, but obviously it's not good to have a car that's broken out on the track, even under yellow flag conditions. So you are allowed to come in and fix the issue, and they're going to work on the right front. Now they're going to replace the front bodywork, which I think will be all right as well, if they had a puncture on the right front, they'd be allowed to change that as well. But Shay, this does not look like the work of a moment. They're going to work on the front strut, the right-hand side of that Ford Mustang.
Yeah, they've just said let's put the qualifying, sticker. They've gone with the sticker tire because the qualifying tire is indeed off the rim, so that tire no longer on the bead. They're going to go back to the garage for this car.
Horrible start for that machine. In the meantime, the Whelen Cadillac team asked for permission and were allowed to go out on the wall and check the car as it went past. No, that car's gone back out. Mike Rockefeller's gone back out. He's missed the turn to go into the paddock. Now, he can come back into the paddock from turn 5 if he doesn't want to come all the way around, or he can just go all the way around again if he can steer on that car. Let me finish the thought about Pete Butterani. The Whelen Cadillac team were on the wall, at least one of them were, and was having a look at the right-hand side. The problem was that the hit was actually on the left-hand side of that car. I'm just waiting to see if there is any news from race control about any of that contact being looked at. And Shay Adam is down at Corvette.
Hollywood has a message for me to relay from Alexander Sims to the safety team. Thank you, AMR safety team, for getting me out of the gravel so quickly. So how about that from driver communication while they're behind the wheel of the car to on air?
Yeah, and I know that the AMR safety team will be listening in to us on Sirius XM 206. It doesn't distract from their radios that they have in their ears, of course, but we really respect the work that you guys and you ladies do. Thank you very much indeed for the gift of your time and also for the rest of our hard-working volunteers, whether they're parking cars, checking your passes, or indeed serving you food and drink at the circuit this weekend. Well, Jeremy, 6.5 coming up to 7 minutes gone. We haven't had a full lap yet. Everybody looking at bits of the cars from those that have been involved in the tags, and what looked to have been a decent start to the first corner got a bit untidy after that.
Yeah, what a shame. I must admit, I didn't actually notice how the two Acuras changed positions. I was focused more on Jimmy Bruni, who went around the outside of turn 3, well, stayed around the outside turn 1, ran the outside turn 3, and at the inside line at the end of the straight in turn 5, took over third position, and then really put the pressure on the Acuras going up the hill towards turn 6. So a brilliant start from Bruni. He is absolutely on a mission here in that Mustang sampling Proton competition Porsche. I mean, he blew away the factory cars yesterday in qualifying, and he's intent on continuing that here today in the race. But yeah, messy start, unfortunate. Often happens here. We got through the first corner okay, but we didn't get through to turn 5 or turn 6. So hopefully second time around will be slightly cleaner.
Back in the pit lane for Mike Rockefeller. The contact between him and Alexander Sims under review from race control. And let's see if he finds the right turn. Yes, he does. It'll just have meant that the Multimatic Ford team will have had a wee bit more time to get all of the bits and pieces sorted back at the awning. Meantime, let's take a look at the safety car, and the lights are out. Just in case you missed a few changes in the, third of a lap that we had under green flag, Jordan Taylor nicked the lead away from Philippe Albuquerque. The Wayne Taylor Acura's switching, then it's 40, the red and chrome car from the blue and chrome number 10. Jimmy Bruni, the man that made the moves early on in the Proton competition, Mustang sampling Porsche 963. Then Cadillac Racing's Renger van der Zande in the 01, the gold-fronted car. Behind him, Nick Tandy in the number 6, that's the car with the white stripes from Porsche Penske Motorsport. Then Connor De Filippi, Richard Westbrook, Dan Cameron, Philip Egg and Pete Durrani. Ben Keating nicked the lead in LMP2 with PJ Hyatt dropping down to 4th position. So it's now United Autosports number 2 from Inter Europol number 52. And PJ in 3rd, with Luis Perez Compact in 4th. Nicky Katzberg for Corvette ahead of Jack Hawksworth for Vassar Sullivan. As we go back to green, Mick Grenier for Courtney Preston leading the GTD category. So the 2 Acuras are now in the most beneficial positions for the championship, as Jordan Taylor is ahead of Philippe Albuquerque. The number 40 car better positioned in the championship standings, so that is the right way round. And Nick Tandy will have to come into the pit lane, drive through, and also when we get the number 64 Mike Rockefeller Ford back out, that will have to do a drive through as well. The only good news about that for Nick Tandy in particular there, Jeremy, this is a long lap. You lose about 42 seconds in a drive-through, but that will leave him on the lead lap in GTP. They'll need to do something clever or get a bit of luck or get another intervention from the safety car, but that's not the end of the race for the number 6 Porsche from Porsche Penske Motorsport.
Yeah, very true. You might lose a little bit less than 42 seconds. 42 seconds is generally a stopping in your pit and going again, or a stop and go, but this should be just a drive through, so it'll save him a couple of seconds at least. But yeah, you can certainly come back for that, but it's an uncharacteristic error there from Nick Tandy. I mean, clearly he just sort of dived to the inside. I think he must, whether he was trying to avoid contact, I don't know, because he wasn't. If he was trying to make a move, he knows he needs to be a lot more incisive than he was. It was kind of a half-hearted move to the inside, which just tagged the left rear of Pietro Durrani's car, so Durrani won't be very happy. But the good news is I think they both got away without any serious damage.
That's Jeremy Shaw with me, John Hindhaugh, in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. There will be a drive-through for Manny Franco in the Conquest Racing Ferrari. That was a false start from him and confirmed from Pratt Miller Corvette Racing. Lower control arm was the problem for the number 64 Corvette, from Multimatic. That's the number 64 Mustang as a lower control arm for Mike Rockefeller. That's why it's gone behind the wall after the contact with the Pratt Miller Corvette. Right, that's got us back up to date. Shall we concentrate on a bit of racing? I think that's a good idea. At the front of GTD Pro then, Nicky Katzberg in the number 4 Corvette is leading from Madison Snow as Manny Franco answers the penalty call in the Corsa-sponsored red, white and green number 34 Ferrari. That's on pit lane at the moment. At the LMP2 battle, Ben Keating's pulled out nearly 2 seconds on Nick Bull in the Inter Europol yellow and green. Number 52 with PJ Hyatt in spike right on Nick's tailpipes. And Jordan Taylor leads a 1-2 for Acura ahead of Jimmy Bruni, who is keeping them honest at the moment in the Mustang sampling car. 2 hours and 27 minutes on the nosy still to go here at Road Atlanta. Now, let's get into some racing, Jeremy Shaw, shall we?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Jordan Taylor, as you say, suggested there, I think that could have been a strategic ploy by the 2 Acuras to make sure Jordan Taylor is in the most advantageous position. He comes into this weekend 4th in the points table, just 199 behind the number 6 car that leads. He would have gained some of that, however, having qualified second yesterday, so made up a bit of ground yesterday to reduce that deficit, but that's the better place of the Acuras in the championship standings.
Ben Keating sets the fastest lap of LMP2 as he stretches his lead to just about 1.5 seconds. At IMSA Radio, if you'd like to get in touch with us, good to have you company wherever you are around the world. Madison Snow's closed into a second on Nicky Katzberg as they go across the line. Madison Snow just put the fastest lap in GTD Pro. It's Corvette, BMW, Lexus, McLaren, Ferrari, Ford, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Porsche in the GTD positions. That's 9 different manufacturers in 9 positions. Now, one of those is a GTD car, in fairness, but even so, that's pretty impressive and exactly what we have come to expect. If you are just joining us, welcome along. You've not missed much. We've already had a full course yellow for Alexander Sims, dumped into the gravel with contact with the Ford Mustang number 64 Mike Rockenfeller, for which Mike has been assessed a penalty, but it's sort of self-penalising because he has broken part of the right front steering and that car's behind the wall. We are racing now, working lap number 6 at the moment. Hello to Marcus Miller, who is watching and listening. Not sure where you are in the world, Marcus, but that looks like a good place to be, and that looks like a nice glass of chilled white. Well, he's got a bottle of chilled white next to him, if only. I've got 2 hours and about 30 minutes to go. Nick Tandy into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty for the contact with number 31. That was the turnaround at turn number 6. It's called avoidable contact in IMSA parlance. It doesn't mean it was deliberate, but they expect high standards of these drivers, whether professional or amateur, and it did affect the 31's race. The car went off the track. Meantime, down at Ford, they are working out the back of their trailer, and looks like they've got the car on the flat patch behind the working area to make sure, as they do that work, that the car is absolutely square and that it's set up correctly, because there are parameters that have to be followed by all of the teams in each of the individual classes, and set by IMSA and by Michelin, the tyre supplier, for all of the classes in IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship, in terms of, in particular, caster. The amount that the bottom of the tyre sticks out more than the top of the tyre. It's away from vertical, so that when the car turns, that you put more of the working tyre on the ground. And those settings, as I say, are mandated. Down to turn 5, Ferrari versus Ford, and that is a GTD Pro battle with Conquest Racing and Giacomo Altoe, with Dirk Müller chasing him at the moment through turn 7. My goodness, that sounded flat in that GT3 car. And now down to turn number 8. Dirk goes through the gears and into the carousel. It's always been a tough corner, the carousel, Jeremy, but since the repave, I think it's actually become even more of a challenge. You really have to drive that corner now. It's not absolutely easy flat for anybody, but it's not a coasting corner either. You've got to have a car that works through the carousel now.
Yeah, very true. I mean, cars got to work everywhere. Whoops, there's an off there for number 45 car. That's who qualified the car? Danny Formal qualified that car, I think, didn't he? Or was it?
He's getting out. He must think there's a fire in the cockpit. Looks like, yeah, it looks like there is a fire in the cockpit of the number 45. Pits are closed. We go into a full course yellow. And this is the Dex imaging, number 45, the Lamborghini Huracan. This is very bad luck and bad news for them, as Danny Formal was in 5th position. He's running away and asking for a fire extinguisher. Now, they're different colours. Now, if this is an electrical fire, you've got to be very careful about what you put on it there. But Danny, obviously realising something was wrong, is opening the right-hand side door, the passenger door. I think that looks like a water extinguisher. Let's see what happens. The Road America safety truck has arrived, and this is just on the exit of the carousel, Jeremy, and our second full course caution, with the safety team looking at the back of the car. But Danny was clearly worried about what was going on. However, whatever it was, without any extinguishing being pumped into the car, which the team will be very pleased about, seems I say seems to have sorted itself out or gone out, as it were.
Does, doesn't it? Yeah, unfortunate for him. Very good news though for Nick Tandy, because he served his drive-through. He came out, I think, towards the tail end of the LMP2 field, but before we go back to green, there'll be a waiver round, and he will be able to move up ahead of all the LMP2 cars to the tail of the grid in GTP.
Yeah, good point, Jeremy. And we were just saying, weren't we, when he was assessed that penalty, it doesn't necessarily mean the end of his race. Hello to Eric Offerdal, who is trackside and obviously not going anywhere this evening, with a can of spotted cow. Right turn lover tuning in from the middle of Europe, and has tuned in, dragged himself away from the Olympic coverage. Very good, thank you. Sean Creech Motorsport, thank you for all of your news as well. Alan Prosser, and he's down. Alan, are you not working tonight, or are you working and listening and watching as well? Marty2334 has pulled some fantastic images from trackside, and Uncle Kevin, and he says another tweet from me about driving standards. Yeah, it was a bit hectic, shall we say, at the start of the race. At IMSA Radio, if you'd like to get in touch with us. Just a couple of minutes after 1:30 hour, and 2 hours and 18 minutes to go. Live coverage of the IMSA SportsCar Weekend, IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship, Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, Sirius XM 206 if you are in the States. Everywhere else in the world, RS2, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels, imsaradio.com. And, of course, if you want to watch our live uninterrupted, that means ad-free, and no subscription coverage, and you're outside of the USA, then head on to imsaradio.com, top left-hand side, click the live video tab on the drop-down, or on its tab itself, depending on which browser you are using. If you would prefer, we do have the IMSA official YouTube channel, but of course, if you're not a YouTube premium user, you will have to suffer the ads, which come up randomly depending on where you are. We can't control that, IMSA can't control that. I've seen a few tweets about that. There will be no pass around. This is what is deemed a short yellow. On track, 100 Fahrenheit is 38 Celsius in the air, it's 28 Celsius or 82 Fahrenheit. The weather has been great this weekend. Keep an eye open for any little clouds bubbling up. Now, I've just said that's a short yellow.
It won't be, John,
it is not going to be. No, indeed not. Indeed. There's no pass around, but the pits will open.
Yeah, there's no pass around required because nobody had been lapped. So everybody's still on late lap. I don't think the prototypes have even caught up to the tail of the GT cars in those, 5 laps of green. Not quite anyhow. So I don't think there's any sort of adjustments needed in the field as they are. So the pits will probably be open this time around. I don't really expect any pit callers unless, well, yeah, we might see some people coming in to top off the fuel. That's true. Top off the energy in the GTP cars.
Well, Shay Adam is our eyes and ears in the pit lane. Are there people getting ready for some custom?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's more people on the wall than not on the wall, so this is going to be a very, very busy moment. I see the Corvette safety car. There's nobody, wait for it, That's the Corvette, and the field behind him has all come into the pit lane. Who has stayed out? Philippe Albuquerque has stayed out, and I believe that is the 24 has stayed out. So only 2 of the GTP cars are out on the racetrack. Every single one of the LMP2 cars is in the lane. Now, the LMP2s will hit their boxes first because they are closer towards pit in, so we'll try and keep an eye on those, but the GTPs are rumbling past now, too. We've got service for Ben Keating. This should be a splash of fuel only, and it is. Same for Nick Bull, only a splash of fuel. And it will be a new tail section for Gar Robinson as well as a splash of fuel. For the GTPs, Jordan Taylor is already out of the number 40 that came in from the lead. It was a splash of fuel for the number 5. That's the Proton car of Jimmy Bruni. And Jimmy Bruni will take the lead once we lead this time. GTP driving time is only 10 minutes, so that's already been met. But that's the only driver change that I saw up and down the pit lane. We had tires and fuel for everybody else except the number 7 Porsche Penske that came in from the lead of the championship into today's race. So the only driver change was Jordan Taylor. The only non-tire change was Jimmy Bruni.
And the cars that stayed out, the 24 Philip Eng BMW. We've already got the Lamborghini that has caused this full course yellow on the flatbed. It will be GTD cars allowed to come in next time around. Hello to Gary Wood, watching from Aylmer. I hope I said that right. Aylmer, in Ontario, Canada, on Rev TV, and cheering for FAF Racing. Go the number 9. Thank you. Hello everybody in Canada. Hello to Jamie McEwen. Asking about the telemetry for the GTPs. IMSA.com/GTP dash hyphen, if you will, the minus sign, telemetry. If you want to know that. Thank you, Jamie, for reminding me to put that out there. Gary Wood is tuned in, so I just mentioned that. Tour de Monde, Harry. Hello, Harry. How are you? Been playing cricket this weekend. Great way to wind down on Saturday night. Harry is at Tour du Monde. He cycled 1,000 kilometres from the Bentley factory at Crewe in the northwest of England to Le Mans earlier on this year to raise awareness and some funds for cardiac risk in the young, CRY. It's an incredible stat that here in the UK, something like 12 young people a week die from previously undiagnosed cardiac issues that could be identified with a simple screening. Set himself a target of £13,000 to set up a couple of screening days at his local cricket club, and I think we're within about £400 of that. I say we because I chopped my hair off for it to try and help out. So thank you to everybody who has donated at Tour du Monde. If you want to find out more about that, please do donate. We'd like to get him well over that 13,000 mark. Into the pit lane for the GTs, and it's the GTD Pro, Shay Adam, that lead them in.
It should be the number 4 Corvette. That is the first one in my line of sight. Staying out on track, the number 3 Corvette, the number 66 Gradient Racing Acura, the number 13 AWA Corvette, and the number 86 Porsche from MDK with high class. Now, first car in to hit its marks with GTD was the number 32. It's a splash of fuel only for Mick Grenier. Splash of fuel for... Oh, it's going to be tires, too, for Patrick Gallagher. Left side tires, 4 tires going on Russell Ward's number 57 Mercedes. That leads the championship. We're doing left side tires for Faf's McLaren, waiting on the fuel for them. It's fuel only for the number 65 Ford Mustang. That is Dirk Mueller staying aboard. And it is left side tires also for the number 4 Corvette that came from the lead. First car back out and rolling. Beautiful stop by the number 70 Inception Racing. They gave Brendan Arebe a lot of positions on that stop, but Corvette Racing, good stop too. Lexus, Vassar Sullivan, and the number 14 crew, best stop of them all. So a round of applause to the 14 crew. They got Jack Hawksworth ahead of everybody else.
Well, there you go, Jeremy. We talked about it in our Porsche Keys to the Race and the tyres. You said there could be some 2 tyre stops. With being so close to the race, the fuel fill isn't going to take a lot of time. and they want the fuel fill to be the determining factor there. So there really wasn't any more time to do more than 2 tyres. So that has fallen into that strategic ploy.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, you know, they're only a third of the way, not even that, probably through a fuel stint here. But it's such a long track here. Any opportunity you need to come onto the pit lane to do so under yellow flag conditions is optimal. So that's why for those cars that didn't pit at the front, Philip Albuquerque and Acura, I think, just kind of splitting their strategies there between the 2 cars. That kind of makes sense. And for Philip Eng, he's still trying to learn, make sure that car's okay. So he doesn't need a pit stop if he can stay within the same, within, well, a minute or so in actual fact of the other class leaders during the race. He can come in whenever he likes and not lose a lap, so it really doesn't affect them adversely in any way. In GTD, number 35 car stayed out. He will lead in GTD Pro, Giacomo Altoe at the restart. The other car that didn't come in from GTD Pro was, as Cheyenne mentioned, the AO Racing Porsche of Julian Landlau, then up into 2nd position. Also Alexander Sims, again looking for track position, I think, in number 3 car, having been punted into the gravel on the very first lap.
Good news for Corvette fans. Nigel Dobby, I know, is watching and listening on. That's Alex Sims has gone back around. The other side of that story, the number 65 Ford Multimatic car has come out from behind the wall. 64 car has come out from behind the wall. Mike Rockenfeller has still got a drive-through penalty to serve, but of course he can't do that under safety cars, so he'll have to wait until we go back green. And I'm hearing from race control and from Aaron, who is our producer of the world feed. Hello to everybody in Concord, up in North Carolina, that the pit exit order is under review as well, so we may just have to reorder a couple of cars before we go back to green flag. Opportunity for me to say thank you very much indeed to the whole team at Concord, North Carolina, from NASCAR Productions, without whom we simply cannot do our job because we can't see all the way around the circuits. Thanks to Ari, to Aaron, to Alyssa. Hang on a second. Our whole production team brought to us by the letter A this weekend. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Keith D'Alessandro, Ropes, and the rest of the technical team up there. Flawless this weekend. Thank you very much indeed. That goes without saying that all the rest of the techs at the track and further afield, including our London main control room, have been working hard this weekend as well. Let's go to Shea Adam, who is with Alexander Sims at Corvette.
Alexander is leaving me with a nice big smoky burnout. Thank you for that. He came in, fuel tires. There was no damage to the car. The crew gave it a quick look over. I think they pitted them separately because they didn't want to take the chance of one car disadvantaging another on a way in or a way out. And given that the 3 is ahead of the 4 in the championship, it would have meant that the 4 would have had a blocked exit trying to regain position because the 4 was ahead on the racetrack and would have hit its pit box first. So that's Corvette Racing being team players, intra-team players for that stop. But Simsy with 4 new sticker Michelin tires.
Interesting. It's cost them some track position, but we have seen, so I think the 2 Porsches, wasn't it? The Porsche Penske Motorsport cars at Watkins Glen International, where we saw real issues from those cars when they were all in the pit together, and there had to be a bit of a shuffle to get those cars out, and it cost enough time that Jeremy wanted to know what had gone wrong in the pit stop. The actual physicality and the logistics of doing the pit stop in terms of tyres and energy replenishment, because it's not just about putting fuel in now, of course, we've got the electrical side of things to think about. That was all fine. We actually didn't have the room to pull out, so something far more old school and fundamental. Right, let's reset then and make sure that we know what is going on. Hello to Dad watching the race from Amsterdam with his girlfriend on Discord. Let's go the Corvette and the 01 Cadillac. And Jeremy, we've had 35 minutes. We've got just over 2 hours to go, so still plenty of time to affect this race with pace and with strategy.
Yeah, very much so, John. And just a couple of notes there on that. We've only had 4 laps of green, unfortunately. But at the initial restart, not the initial start, the restart, the number 1 GTD Pro car of Madison Snow made up a couple of positions. He got past both the Pfaff McLaren and number 14 Lexus as well. So a good early jump there by the number 1 car.
Now, we were going green there, but the lights have come back on the safety car. This is the pit order, pit exit order still ongoing. So let's see if we can work out. This is in the GTD category. As now, were there red lights at the end of the pit lane, and who was squeezing who to do what? It was the Pro Lexus came out in front of the Pro Aston Martin from Heart of Racing.
Everybody else.
and then everybody else was side by side. Who else was in there? The Inception McLaren. This is going to be for the number 23 Aston Martin Heart of Racing. The Inception car was leading the field down the fast lane, and the number 23 Aston Martin came shooting out of its pit lane, and whether it was on the pit lane or not will be the question that is, the pit lane speed limit will be the question that is being asked. But I think that is what they're looking at the moment. Alex Riberas in front of Nicky Katzberg and Dirk Muller, and it was the Inception McLaren, the number 70, which is a GTD car, and Brendan Reed. Now, Alex Sims back into the pit lane. Shay Adam, this, I presume, is just a splash of fuel to open up their pit window even longer.
Oh, and I love this because Alexander Sims ducked out, last car behind the safety car, came into the pit lane, hit his box, got the exactly, I think it was 3 seconds worth of fuel from Corvette Racing with PPM, and then managed to rejoin without having the red light at the pit exit because the end of the the safety car train had just gone by. So that was exactly perfect timing. Sometimes it works out when the pit lane speed limit is exactly what the safety car is doing, and you don't actually lose any ground on anyone.
Yeah, and the reason for that, John, is that if, we hope, we could go green to the end from here, that extra lap or so of fuel could be critical. We've got 2 hours and 2 minutes remaining. GTD cars can do around about an hour. So I think just that little extra splash. He was always back of the field in any case because he had that. He didn't come in with everybody else on that first stop, so he was already at the back. Come in, top it off, and he's got another extra lap or so of fuel. And around this racetrack, as you talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, John, fuel consumption and pit stops are absolutely critical here on this 4-mile track.
We've said in the past in our Porsche keys to the race, these fuelish things, you cannot afford a mistake here. It is absolutely crucial. There is zero margin for error on a 4-mile circuit as we have here. Thank you very much to Art Nasri, who has been helping out up at Concord this weekend. Art, Oren, Alicia. Kind of works. Jim Nabty as well, I forgot to mention. Sorry, Jim. Who's been there for quite some time. Really brilliant weekend and some good laughs. It's probably just as well you can't hear the back talk that goes on between Shay in the pit lane, Jeremy and I in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre, Rob and Tim in London, and the team at Charlotte, North Carolina. Suffice to say that we're all enjoying ourselves whilst hopefully entertaining you guys as well. 2 hours and 50, it's going to be about 50 seconds as they cross the line as we go back green. Great run, and side by side the 0-1 Cadillac with Renger van der Zande right on the door panel of the Porsche number 7, and Dane Cameron had no choice but to give him the inside line to turn 1 there. Van der Zande got a great launch out of turn 14 and was alongside as they crossed the line. Big lock up for the number 40 going down into turn 3. Jordan Taylor, remember it was 10 and 40 who were leading, but the number 10 Philippe Albuquerque has not yet pitted. Neither has Philip N in the BMW MRLL. 6 and the 40 going at it. So this is down at turn 5, and that's Nick Tandy and Jordan Taylor. Well, neither of them, Jeremy, are going to give anything other than their absolute best. No quarter asked or given there.
No, absolutely right. And once again, Jimmy Bruni there is in 3rd position, which he was at the beginning of the race, which would be annoying for him and for that Proton team because they had a super fast pit stop. They overtook one of the Acuras, already behind one of them, of course, but they overtook the other Acura, so are now into 3rd position with number 10, number 24 car having not pitted during that pit stop sequence.
Well, Jeremy, we mentioned about staying clean and penalties, and Dan Goldberg hasn't done that. He's going to have a stop plus 60 for running the pit lane light in that number 22 United Autosport car, also with penalties. The number 9, that is going to be, what is that for? That is for pit lane speed violation. Just 1 click, but 1 click is 1 click. So Ollie Jarvis for Pfaff Motorsport will have to come back through the pit lane as the tower number 8 has a problem coming through the penultimate corner and is coming to the pit lane. That's John Ferrano, as we have got 41 minutes elapsed, so that's done his time. Actually, no, he won't have, because it's an hour, of course, in this event. Let me finish these pit stop penalties. We mentioned the speed violation there. Pass under yellow. Oh, dear me. This is for the number 18, Stuart Wilshire of Era Motorsport. And pit lane speed violation plus 21 for the number 8 Tower Motorsport. That's a stop plus 20. Stop plus 20 for John Ferrano. So he was coming into the pits, and the Sean Creech Motorsport Ligier is backwards into the gravel in the turn 5 beach. And Tony Kazamets in the team this weekend might, if he is very, very gentle on the throttle. Oh, he's high centered the front of the car. He almost got that car out, but the right rear Michelin is digging in because the splitter is caught on the exit of the gravel trap. So, oh, brilliant. What a brilliant piece of thinking. The team have seen that and told Tonis to reverse out onto the hard standing, which he's done. Oh, I'm sorry, more than a little golf clap here. First of all, for the team and Tonis for working that out. Secondly, for Tonis finding reverse, because that's never an easy thing to do. Looks like he might have had help from the number 20. Yes, he did. And that will be a penalty for Dennis Anderson for the MDK by high class. That will be one of the easier decisions that race control have to make. But that was superb stuff by race control, by the team, and by Tony's Kazamets. Wonderful. We stay green, Jeremy.
Yeah, we do. And there's not many people that know this track better than Tony Kazamets. He's from Mundelein, Illinois, so within a couple of hours of this track. This is his home track, originally from Estonia, but this is his home track. He knows his place better than anybody, so he knows all the tricks of the trade here and does a lot of coaching here as well. So he'll have figured that one out for himself, but as you say, really heads up thinking by Tony Kazamets. And what a shame to see that Ligier being spun around there.
Yeah, great qualifying from the Ligier this weekend. The Singleton Ligier in a field full of Oregas. I said in qualifying, and nobody's contradicted me on the socials, so I'm going with it. I think that's the only Ligier at this level of competition. I can't think of anybody who runs them in the ELMS, the European Le Mans Series, or the Asian Le Mans Series. We didn't have one at Le Mans this year. I know that is something that the guys at Sean Creech Motorsport would like to put together and change that. As in the pit lane, the number 22 serving its penalty. And as I suspect, as Dennis Anderson is going to have to come in, that is just a drive-through, however, for that contact. So, 45 minutes is gone. We have an hour and 55 minutes to go. Let's take a rundown, a VP Racing update, and it is Wayne Taylor Racing's Acura from Philippe Albuquerque, who has not yet stopped. 50% of their energy still in the tank, and leading by 2.8 seconds from Philippe Eng and BMW M Team RLL. Same as the above, hasn't stopped but has 55% left in that car's stint. Jimmy Bruni's the best of the cars that stopped in the number 5 brought on competition, the Mustang sampling Porsche 963. He's 0.8 of a second behind second place and has just about a second on Conor De Filippi in the number 25 BMW, who's 4th. In 5th position, as Dennis Anderson comes in for his drive-through with a little bit of damage on the right front of the Motul red, white, black number 20 Oregon. After Conor De Filippi, he's got about a second on Renger van der Zande for the 01 Cadillac, who's got 2.5 seconds on Dane Cameron, the Porsche Penske Motorsport number 7. Richard Westbrook, 1.2 seconds in the yellow 963. That's how much he's further back. That is the 85 car. He's in 7th. Jordan Taylor in the number 40 Wayne Taylor Racing Acura. Carl was leading before the pit stop cycle. Nick Tandy, after a drive-through pit stop for contact early on with the number 31 Jack Aitken. There was Pete Maturani in that car originally. They are 9th and 10th. LMP2 led by Ben Keating by 4 seconds to EO Racing's PJ Hyatt. So United 2 from EO 99, and Nick Bulls another 2 seconds further back for Inter Europol in the number 52 GT Pro. Conquest Racing Ferrari leading there by nearly 2 seconds from Julian Andela in Roxy's. Philippe Albuquerque resets the fastest lap of the race. 3rd of the GT cars is the GTD leader on a Frio Triazzi. The Ferrari's going well, and that is your VP in race update. Jeremy Shaw in a moment to assess what we've seen in the early parts of this race. Shay Adam has callers in the pit lane.
Hello. Yes, I do. The AWA Corvette was the first car to come in and hit its mark. Sorry for Donnie got out. Very short fuel load put aboard that car. And now it is Matt Bell to the end of the race. 2 boxes ahead of them was MDK Motorsport with their Porsche. Kirong Lee got out, and Anders Fjordbach took his time to get in, but they had time. They did 4 tires and fuel as well for that Porsche. But up on this end, the pit-in end of things, where people are a little bit lower placed down in the championship, we have a lot of movement on the wall. I see Frederick Chandler very strong here last year. What's actually the fastest lap of the race in the GT3 spec of car. He is on the wall. Brendan Reed will be bringing in the Inception McLaren any moment now. And Sheena Monk is due in the Gradient Racing Acura, where it is going to be time for Stephen McAleer to take over.
Shea Adam with that pit report will be watching what's going on and nominating our BDO Nose Strategy Award before the end of this race. Just one nomination. The way this has worked out at the beginning of the race, Jeremy, it has opened up the strategic opportunities, and not everybody is going with the same game plan, quite clearly.
Yeah, true, but in GTD, 45 minutes is elapsed now, so the minimum drive time has been met. So you get the AM out and the Pro in. That's what's happening here with Inception Racing now. Frederick Schandorf taking over from Brendan Reeb.
Yeah, we'll get a word with Brendan in a moment once he has cooled himself down. That is a very smooth pit stop. Fred Schandorf just tightening down his seatbelt harnesses before he gets to the end of the pit lane, making sure that the steering wheel is where he wants it. Ben Keating's just gone through and reset the fastest lap in LMP2. Hello to Dominic Stevenson, who's in bed in the UK in County Durham with the cats watching at the moment. Just a quick word to everybody in the UK who are watching or listening. I hope you're all safe and well. I know there's been some unfortunate and unsavoury incidents in some of the city centres around the UK, including my home city, Sunderland. Delighted to see how all of the communities have responded to that. They are the real community, not the people who were bussed in to come and do the damage. If you've been affected by that, hope you are fine and going back about your business as we go back to a working week tomorrow. Hello to Frank Plasman, who's tuned in as well at IMSA Radio. Fabulous run, Jeremy Shaw, from Ben Keating after what was a pretty scary incident earlier on in the weekend in FP2 when he hit the wall pretty hard at driver's left coming through the carousel.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, that was a big impact. Incredible job by the team to get that car repaired again in time for qualifying. Ben then had his best qualifying of the year, and he's on a mission here right now, no doubt about it. He's pulled out 7 seconds in, 6 laps since the restart. He's flying in that United Autosports USA car number 2 and pulling away from the pole sitter.
Jumped restarts, and what was the other one? Too many crew. These too many penalties here. As I said before, this is a long lap, but MDK Motorsports had too many crew over the roll, so we are going to have Anders Fjord back in the pit lane, and the number 78 will have to come in. That was Misha Goikberg jumping the restart in the Lamborghini. And also, as you might have guessed, incident responsibility. Remember, we had that coming together. Louis Delatraz for Wayne Taylor Racing, spinning around the 85 at Canada Corner, and Delatraz has been pinged for that.
Okay, John, that was on the last lap, because I was wondering what happened to Richard Westbrook. He was running in the 7th position, just ahead of number 40, and then came around about 6 seconds behind that little group, because not only did the number 40 car go past, but so did the 31 as well. So that explains that, and a drive-through, as you say, for number 40. That's unnecessary.
At this stage, with still an hour and it would have been nearly 50 minutes to go when that happened, we understand that all the drivers want to get as far up the field as they can, but you got to pick your battles, and Delatraz will peel off into the pit lane, I think this time around. No, he's going through in the number 40. Stephen is asking about the number 45 Lamborghini. That was some kind of fire or conflagration in the engine compartment or the cockpit itself for Danny Formal. He built out that car pretty quickly. They didn't need to do any extinguishing on that car. It seemed to go out on its own. It went back to the paddock some time ago, Stephen, on a flatbed. Right, we have 53 minutes elapsed. Let's take a breather from the action on the track and pick up some interviews from down in the pit lane from the drivers that started the race. Shay Adam is in Gradient NSX with Sheena Monk from the 66 car.
Sheena, I want to find out about how the stint was and how the car was from your perspective, but I have to say, out of all the Gradient Racing pit stops I think I've ever seen, that was by far the best. Is everything clicking now with this team?
Yeah, it was super smooth. You know, I just felt like Steven and I, we were really, up to the task on that one. And, I was actually hoping that we had gotten more driver change practice in this weekend. So thankfully, it went on smoothly. The crew did a great job on the tire change, the fueling. It was just spot on. And so, it was really great to just jump out of the car and not have any hiccups.
Do you think Steven has a car to fight for a podium?
I do, actually. This weekend, you know, we were struggling on Friday and Saturday, and we were getting a bit frustrated. And we took, you know, at that point, we just took a big swing at it because we really didn't feel like we had much to lose. And, you know, for me, the car came to life. I was up, you know, racing just because of the way the pits cycled, and we stayed out. And so I was racing with some people that, you know, I don't particularly get to race with that often, which was kind of cool. And frankly, I felt like I was able to hang a bit in there. So to me, that meant that the car was really alive.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks so much.
Shayna Monk from the 66 NSX into the pit lane for Onofrio Triazzi in the Lamborghini. Ferrari's going well, and it's Conquest Racing who is still leading the race, Jeremy, by nearly 7 seconds in GTD Pro.
That's right, Giacomo Altaway is pulling away at the front of the field in GTD. He's pulled out, as you say, over 7 seconds now over Julian Andlauer, who did qualify last in the class in that pusher. But right behind Andlauer was Onofrio Triazzi before he came into for that pit stop. So he's running absolutely superbly in that first day. Qualified magnificently in third for his first ever sprint race. And that was a great run by Onofrio. He'll be thrilled with that. And now hand over that car for the closing stages, well, for the remainder of the race to Alessio Rivera from Varese in Italy. He's fast too.
Two Porsche 963s from Porsche Penske Motorsport together on the track at turn number 8, having just gone by the 23 Aston Martin from Harter Racing, and able to go on the high line around the outside, the left-hand side of the carousel. Well, partially, because we got one of them through, but not the other, and now a problem for the number 6. I think that's dirty tyres, because it looked like the number 6 Porsche of Nick Tandy was doing fine and following his teammate Dane Cameron through, and then he got out onto the grey, and I'm pretty certain the BMW went back past him. That was a GT car and one of the LMP2 cars. So Tandy will have to clean up his tyres. Across the line, BMW versus Cadillac. And that is the battle for third and fourth. Connor De Philippi has third. The 0-1 Cadillac. Renger van der Zande wants it. Down towards turn 3. They've just gone past the Corvette. Alexander Sims in 8th position as that car continues its comeback after its problems early on. Check that, it was the 4 car of Nicky Katzberg who's in 4th in GTD Pro at the moment. And now they go past Jack Hawksworth. Jack had a nasty incident in Michelin Pilot Challenge, but he was fine. The Toyota Supra he was driving, probably not so much. But Jack, ever the trooper, was back on duty relatively short time afterwards, actually, to qualify the car he's driving now. Another issue for the Motul sponsored number 20 LMP2 car. It's MDK with high class. Dennis Anderson, 8th position. He is waiting for a gap in the traffic at turn 5 to be able to rejoin. Looking at that car to see if that was assisted. I'll tell you that in a moment. Meantime, there's been a coming together between the number 22 United Autosports LMP2 car and that looked like AO Racing to me. Yes, it was. Yeah. And that was at turn 1, and that might also get race control interested for PJ Hyatt.
Yeah, well, that was number 22 car, of course. That had that stop and hold penalty, didn't it? So it's a lap down already now. Is number 22 car to the number 99 that was running second in that class, losing ground to Ben Keating, but he was still in second position, or still is in second position, I think, in that number 99. Meanwhile, pit stops just a moment ago for number 24, John. That'll be, I think, first scheduled pit stop for number 24 car, ducking out of second position, and also number 40 car serving its penalty as well.
Shea Adam.
We have a Pippo. Let's see if this is going to be a driver change or just fuel and tires as the 31 Wayland Engineering Cadillac rumbles down the pit lane. Let's see, Jack Egan is already aboard the car. Oh, when did they do that change? I missed that. The front tire change is going on now. Let's see, are they going to do rears? Does not look like it. Okay, this is interesting. Yes, they are. But Jack stopped rather close to the wall on the right-hand side, so they had a little bit of issue trying to change the right rear. Now they've signaled Jack to leave, and he is already away.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
Jack
John,
jumped into that car. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Well, no, yeah, you're right. At the first round of pit stops, they made that driver change. So I think most likely people will do the finishing stint in this race. You know, we're now got an hour and 40 minutes to go. From here, this number 31 car can do one more pit stop and get to the end of the race. So that is the first car to adopt that strategy. Well, perhaps the 24 car, but it might be a bit tight for them. But that's the strategy there for the GTP cars that were just into the pit lane.
Strategy may yet win this race. It is as important as the speed on the circuit. We often say that there's as much talent on the wall as there is behind the wheel, and talked about this actually in Michelin Pilot Challenge yesterday, about how 2 hours doesn't seem quote-unquote an endurance race. However, with fuel loads and driver time and strategy and the intervention of safety cars, strategy is, you've always got to be on point. Porsche key to the race was concentration. That's on the pit wall as well. You'll be working the strategy computer, you'll have your spreadsheet, but to be honest, as has been said many times before, in fact it was Dion von Moltke's great-great-grandfather, former driver Dion in this championship, who was a general back in the day. He said any plan that you have never survives first contact with the enemy, and that is the safest strategy in an endurance race. As soon as you get to the first safety car, your plan's gone out the window, basically. Both Lexus in the pit lane. Shay Adam is watching.
The number 12 has come in, the GTD car first, hitting its marks. This is a driver change. Parker Thompson taking over in his first race, as far as WeatherTech is concerned, at Road America, but already 2 times the winner in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America at this track in 2021 and 2022. So he's very familiar with getting car to victory lane here. As also into the pit lane comes Pfaff with their McLaren. This is a driver change. Ollie will be getting out, Ollie Jarvis that is, and Marvin Kirchhoffer will be taking over. I love the way that these guys have to contort their bodies to try and get out of the car. Left side tires are done, going around and running and working on the right sides is the 12 Lexus, already back out on the circuit. Door closes, driver change is complete. Car comes off the air jacks, waiting on fuel. Great stop by Pfaff with their crew. Slightly altered crew this weekend because Corey, who normally is over the wall, hurt his back and unfortunately has to stay on the cold side of the pits.
Thank you, Shay. The number 20 and 33 incidents, that was the Tony Kazimets on Creech Motorsport with the MDK red, white and black car. Inconclusive, no action, says race control, so that's fine. What has come in, by the way, and this is something we'll have to watch out for later on. This is a track that this comes up at probably more than anywhere else. Frederick Schandorf for Inception Racing in the number 70 McLaren has been warned for blocking. Now this is a track where there are some long runs, and if you start moving around and acting in response to what the car behind you is doing, race control take a dim view of that. Defend by all means, but pick your defensive line and stick to it. So let's keep an eye on that. Don't forget you can follow along with Alcamel timing. Just go to Alcamel, search Alcamel on your Alcamel IMSA on your browser, and you can get all the live timing resources that we have in the Ford Global Performance Centre. Well, we're all over the place here with strategy. Cars coming in all the time. Scott Andrews and the JDC Miller Motorsports Orica has just gone back out. That's the number 79 car, the second car, effectively. Jeremy, what are you making of this so far with just over 96 minutes to go?
Yeah, great that the race is finally settling down. As you said, we've got an hour and 4 minutes in the books now. I would expect LMP2 cars into the pits. Actually, Scott Andrews has just taken over from Jerry Crowder, car number 79. And I expect the LMP2 cars to come in very, very quickly for the pro drivers to take over. But a brilliant first hit for Ben Keating. I mean, he's going really quickly. He's pulled away. Now, what's the gap? Almost 12 seconds to PJ Hyde in second position. But I think the hour minimum drive time is just about up for the LMP2s. Of course, they already made that one pit stop early on, which is perfectly timed for them, because after that they could run a full stint and then come in for their second stop and a driver change, and good to go to the end. So that the timing of that initial caution, or the second caution period, was perfect for LMP2. I would expect those cars in fairly soon. We've got an hour and 35 remaining. They can do about 45 minutes at a stretch on a tank of fuel. So if they can stay out another 5 minutes, maybe they can do the race on just one more pit stop.
Track temperatures dropped a whole degree Fahrenheit since we started, now just 99 on the Fahrenheit scale. That's 37 Celsius, 28 Celsius in the air is 82 on pit lane. So toasty, but not scorchio, with due deference to the fast show. I'm presuming that in 3-layer Nomex and fireproof underwear, etc., 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 it's probably still a bit toasty, in all honesty. Hello to Dave Alcock and Into the Paddock podcast as well. Also to all of you trackside who are tuned in, listening. Andrew Pagan has at Road America for the first time. He says elevation changes more pronounced than I had expected. Lovely circuit, feeling very lucky to tick off another bucket list track. Start planning for next year, first weekend in August. All of the IMSA dates are out. They have been since Sebring. If you're in Europe or further afield, or even in other parts of the United States, it is time to come to an IMSA race. This is a golden era. Never mind worrying about when the last one was or when the next one would be. Come and see it right now. We have almost 50 cars here. There are more cars coming next year, including in GTP. We'll have Aston Martin for at least part of the season from Harter Racing with their new GTP car. The number 11 TDS car is off the circuits at the end of the kink. So it is 11 off at 11, Stephen Thomas, and straight into the pit lane for Nick Bull and for Gar Robinson. We're still green at the moment. There's an opportunity to come into the pits here. Surely Philippe Albuquerque needs to come in now, Jeremy. And they're racing into the pit lane, and Albuquerque locks it up with an hour and 32 minutes to go, side by side with the Wright Motorsport Porsche. He dived up the right-hand side and effectively in the acceleration lane. Now, should Albuquerque have ceded the position into the pit lane to that green and yellow Porsche? That's something for race control. Shea Adam has the race leader in the pit lane under expectation of a safety car. Shea?
It depends on which car was in the transition lane and which car was in the fast lane, John, as to which car gets positioned. Bo Barfield going over that in the driver's meeting, but the pit lane getting very busy as Ricky Taylor has taken over the 10 Acura for WTR Andretti. We've got the 01 and for Cadillac Racing, Sebastian Bourdais running over the wall and getting ready to take over for Renger van de Zande. In and out of the pit lane already, the Windward Racing Mercedes, as both of the Porsches come in. Line is starting the 7th leading the 6th, so that was correct for the championship order. Let's see, are they doing driver changes? Yes to both cars, so that means that we have Felipe Felipe Nasser in the 7, and Dane Cameron getting out of that one with Mathieu Jaminet in the 6, now taking over for Nick Tandy. Fuel and 4 tires for them. Fuel and 4 tires now for Seb Bourdais. Fuel and 4 tires for Ricky Taylor. The number 120 Wright Motorsport Porsche gets going. Bourdais beats out Taylor, so that's a position gain from the 01, and effectively the lead going to the Cadillac on a pit stop. Excellent job by Chip Ganassi's boys and girls.
And a Control-Alt-Delete performed by Stephen Thomas has got that car going. I do think he's maybe just slapped the wall because not all of the wheels looked exactly right. And then off down at the bottom of the hill for the 01 car. That's Sebastian Bourdais on an outlap. Maybe on cold tyres, could have had help. This is turn 3 as he is back up to speed. And he was trying to go down the inside of the right Porsche. I think that's on Sebastian there. Down the inside. And these cars are a bit bigger and a bit heavier than the previous iteration of prototypes. And he tried to bail out, but just lost it. Meantime, Ginny Bruni has been leading the race, but he's come into the pit lane now for Porsche. We've had some GTD stops as well. Shea Adam has the news from pit lane.
There was just a problem from the 14 after a great pit stop by the Vassar Sullivan crew for their Lexus. It was Ben Barnicat who tried to leave with the fuel hose attached. She did pull the clutch back in and jam the brakes on, but the car didn't move about 2 feet with the fuel hose, and I don't know that they got a full load in. But the good news is that Ben was able to continue on his way nice and safely, and we did have both of the AO racing cars in. So PJ Hayek got out of the LMP2 that he started from pole, and Lauren Heinrich is now aboard Roxy, the pink dinosaur for the number 77 championship leading Porsche.
Well, so much incident there. I think those that came to the pit lane, Jeremy, did absolutely the right thing because there was an opportunity if the safety car had come out to get an advantage. But Stephen Thomas has rather thrown the cat among the pigeons by getting that number 11 TDS Oreca going again.
Yeah, I mean, not really consequential, I don't think, in terms of the overall strategy for the race, because from here, having made that pit stop or not, they can get to, well, if they made a pit stop, they can get to the end of this race with just one more pit stop to conclude it. So no adverse effects, I think, for these GTP cars. Number 5 car did stay out one more lap there, Jimmy Bruni, before making that pit stop and handing over now to Ben Viscal, the Dutchman at the wheel for the first time.
Another penalty, this time for leaving with equipment attached to drive through for Tom Dillman and into Europol Oreca. They were in 4th position in LMP2. They will cede that position. Battles all around the racetrack after those quick splash and goes, or the pit stops at least. Philippe Nasser with the BMW of Jesse Krohn right behind him. Let's have a word with Jimmy Bruni. Has led the race. Ben Fiscal, single seat to start, now in that Mustang sampling Porsche 963.
Jimmy, that was a fantastic opening stint from you and the entire Mustang sampling crew to keep the car up front. What was it like to lead a race again with this crew, knowing it's been a long time coming?
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoy doing IMSA races, and obviously, as we don't have so much experience with the car, we start last year here. And so going back, it's like a bonus for us, you know, because we don't have a big budget, we don't do testing. So it's like for us a test last year. We came back with the same car, same tire, same crew, basically, same driver. Only different is bent, no hurry, and we're just getting better through the session, and the race is just part of what we did since FP1.
It must be very satisfying for you guys. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
As you can hear in the background, it's gotten a little bit quiet. We've gone to a full course caution. The number 25 of Nick Yellowly exited the carousel, and I think you said, John, that Sebastian Bourdais was involved.
There's certainly damage to the 01 Cadillac, big damage. I'm afraid if you're a fan of BMW, they've not had the weekend that they wanted, having had speed. They topped the sessions a couple of times during the free practice. Yellowly's door is open. Also hearing that the number 14 prototype left, Vassar Sullivan Lexus left with equipment attached for Ben Barnicat, so that will be a penalty there into a closed pit for Sebastian Bourdais, and there has been contact between the 0-1 Cadillac and far more damage on Jesse Krohn's, on Nick Yellerly's BMW Team RLL. That car, I don't think, is going to get back to the pits. It's way off to drivers left. Shea Adam is, and Yellerly is out of the car and headed to the AMR incident vehicle as the 0-1 Cadillac is having some rhinoplasty.
It is. It's going to need quite a bit. The good news is the suspension looks like it is not bent, so that's one bullet dodge. They're putting a new nose on. With this coming out of the full course caution, they're not losing as much ground as they would have if it had stayed yellow. The bottom of the splitter had actually come off too, so that was a big hit between those two cars. And the bodywork that is, well, remaining from the front of this 0-1 Cadillac, there's not very much of it. Let's see, they're dropping Sebastian off the air jacks. They've given him the thumbs up, and they're sending him back out. He's going to be fired up. It was green light at pit exit, so that's good news as well. There's a little bit of fluid under the middle of the car from where Sebastian was. Let me do a quick test. Water. Yep, that's not a worry.
So Nick Yellerly losing it on the exit of the carousel and then smacking the left-hand front tyre into the concrete there. Not sure how the Cadillac was involved. He just ran out of exit curb through the Mission Food sign and into some bare concrete on driver's left there. So I can only assume that there was a separate incident for the 0-1. We'd seen Sebastian Bourdais with a spin before that down at turn 3 when trying to go inside the right motorsport car. Right, so it looks like Bourdais might have been unsighted by all of the dust from Yellerly's car, because he was the next car back, but there was no contact between them as they came out the carousel. That could have been much worse for Nick Yellerly. I wonder if Bourdais went to the other side of the track and has hit something solid there. But that edge of the wall down there, it's one of the overlaps. Now, yeah, that's exactly what's happened. Yeah. The Cadillac has gone into the wall on the opposite side of the track. Sebastian Bourdais, having had a spin that possibly was by his own hand, then absolutely not his fault, Jeremy, because as Yellerly goes 2 Michelins off, there's a huge amount of dust and dirt, and I think Sebastian was just unsighted, and in trying to avoid what he knew or didn't know was there, has gone into the wall driver's right.
I think you're absolutely right, John. Yes, I mean, gosh, that was a massive tank slapper that Nick Yellerly had there, still on, pretty cool tyres. I was speaking to Conor De Felipe earlier today, and he was telling me that it's really tricky to get tyres up to temperature here, particularly the right side tyres, and there's sort of a grip differential there between the left and the right, particularly right after a pit stop. I don't know what tyres they changed on that pit stop, but it's really tricky. You get offline here, and it's really, there's a lot of marbles build up, and it's just it's treacherous out there. So for Nick Yellerly, he just lost it on the exit of that corner. And poor Sebastian Bourdais, I think he'd have seen that. Well, I mean, he was only 8-10 car lengths behind him, but he wasn't sure. Yeah, and he wasn't sure which way that car was going. All he could see probably was a cloud of dust, and so he probably got on the brakes, and the car swapped ends as a result of it. But just really unfortunate for both of those two, and particularly for both of those two, absolutely.
The good news is Nick extricated himself from the car unaided. He'll be very disappointed with himself. He was pushing very, very hard indeed. Now, earlier on we talked about the number 10 trying to dive into the pit lane, the Louis the Ricky Taylor driven car. And he came up the right-hand side of the Wright Motorsport number 120 Porsche. Now, I know exactly what Ricky's going to say. He's going to say that I overtook him before the pit lane speed limiter, and therefore it's my right of way. I'm not sure that that is how race control is going to see that. Shea Adam down in the pit lane. The pit lane doesn't start till the pit lane speed pylon. So surely you've got every right to go past someone who's slowing coming into the pit lane. And the Porsche goes in, Ricky goes to the right-hand side to overtake him and then breaks down to the pylon. He didn't just chop back in front of him, but his car's going quicker. Surely that's absolutely all right, isn't it?
Nope, it's exactly not all right, because unfortunately for Ricky, by diving down the right-hand side, that puts him on the transition lane of the pit lane. And the rule in IMSA is if there is any overlap whatsoever between the car in the fast lane, i.e. all the way to the left, and the car in the transition lane, which is supposed to be the middle in between the pit boxes and getting to the fast lane, the car in the fast lane gets priority. Doesn't matter if it's a smidgen of an inch of the tail of the car ahead of the headlight of the car behind. That makes all the difference, and that's the way that IMSA will view it. So in my reading of the rule book, that is car number 120, the Wright Motorsport Porsche, with the right of way to be in the fast lane.
Well, that car has been given a warning for pit lane protocol. I think what saved the car there was that he made that pass on the racetrack, and he wasn't in the pit lane, and he was ahead at the pylon. At that point, how do you sort it out without him just pulling across? However, it has been assessed as a warning. I think that's really good officiating, again, from race control, knocking it out of the park again this weekend. The job that nobody really wants to do. Pits are open for prototypes, by the way. Let's see if we get any takers. And in fact, Delatraz is in the pit lane. Louis Delatraz is in the pit lane, Jeremy. Does that surprise you?
No, because the timing of the caution was unfortunate for him, because he was really the only car that hadn't pitted for this sequence, so to speak. He will need less fuel than the other guys. He was last in on lap 21, so he's only done 11 laps, 3 of which have been under caution. But unfortunately, that'll drop him to the tail end of the cars, or most of the tail end of the cars here.
Shea Adam is,
Delatraz hits
as ever,
his
in the pit lane
perfectly, and they are going to do 4 tires by the looks of it on this Acura. Now, the interesting thing, they've just reached into Louis, and he's gesticulated towards his helmet as if he's having an issue that they need to address. It was fuel only for Jack Aiken. We are getting Sebastian Bourdais back into the pit lane. They are doing fuel and making sure, windshield tear off. That's very nice. See, they still like Seb. Just that splash of fuel, and he gets going once again. Splash of fuel also for the number 2. That's Ben Hanley aboard. The number 52 also back into the pit lane. Sorry, that was the United Autosports LMP2. Now the PR1 Matheson, the Inter-Euro Cool car. That one is back out and going again. Kuba Schminkowski is normally the 3rd driver in that car. They have left his name on it. So that means that when Tom Dillman and Nick Bull took it to victory lane last week, it did have their 3rd driver on it as well. Okay, now this is interesting. A new nose is going on the Riley number 74. They changed the tail earlier on when Gar Robinson was behind the wheel. Well, now it's Felipe Fraga, and he's getting a new nose. There didn't appear to be any damage on the old one, so perhaps this is a setup change. They have been struggling with this car almost all weekend. After a really good test, Gar Robinson said he was a little bit nervous because that normally means that they struggle in the race. And they did an engine change yesterday to try and find if anything could help them out with the car. Clearly, it's still not behaving in exactly the manner that they were hoping.
Shea Adam, our pit lane reporter, live coverage of the IMSA SportsCar Weekend and the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship with just under 88 minutes to go for Performance Global Broadcast Centre, bringing you all of the action in sound on RS2 around the world. No blocks, no breaks via IMSARadio.com, of course. Also in the US on Sirius XM 206. And if you're outside the US, you can click on IMSARadio.com. If you click to the top left, depending on which browser you're using, you'll either see a live video tab, or the drop down will give you a live video tab as well, and that will give you live, no interruptions World Feed TV coverage. No subscription required. If you're in the US, then our colleagues at NBC Sports calling the race from Mission Control at North Carolina and at NASCAR Productions HQ. They will be looking after you for the next hour and 16 minutes or thereabouts. Right, Jeremy, we have the pit lane open for everybody this time around, so maybe we're not quite there for the GTs to go at the end from here, are we?
An hour and 15, no, we're not, so it's going to be interesting to see who comes in, who doesn't, or particularly who
Everybody.
doesn't. Very few staying out.
And we did have somebody asking earlier on about the Lamborghini. I think I've just seen Danny Formal take that car back out the pit lane. Yes, he has. Many laps down now, some 26 laps off the base. Shea Adam has the bulk, at least, of certainly the GTD PRO field coming in, Shea.
Mick Grenier is in from the pole-sitting car, handing over to Kenton Cook for the KPM Mercedes. 4 tires and fuel. 4 tires and fuel also for Cherna Motorsport, who come to this track because they like the food and the adult beverages. But Patrick Gallagher has done his job, handing over to Robbie Foley. Very good duo, very good history for Cherna Motorsport at this track. Let's see if they can keep it alive. Both of the Corvettes are in. We've got Antonio Garcia aboard the 3 with 4 new tires and fuel. And now it is Tommy Milner and the number 4, this sister car. Very good stop once again from the number 14, Vassar Sullivan crew. No issues with the refueling that time, but beating them out was the number 23, Heart of Racing Aston Martin. Next car out of the pit lane was Roxy, so Lauren Heinrich defending that championship lead by maintaining the 3rd position on the racetrack. Then the Inception Racing McLaren, really good stop by them as chaos unfolds, leaving the pit lane, and Roman DeAngelis cannot cycle out. He was not allowed in. There we go. Finally, they decided to play nice, but nobody taking out the Michelin RFID readers at the pit exit, for which you have to go through. You can only go through 1 car at a time, so everybody has to play nicely. Thankfully, they did, but I think Roman actually lost a spot on that by having to join the transition lane so much later because of where his pit box is placed, because of where the sister car is in the championship. So race control will be looking at that once again, making sure that the pit exit order was okay. And now you can hear how quiet it's gotten. It goes from chaos to total peace very, very quickly.
Yeah, it was a stop and 5-minute hold for Richard Westbrook for clobbering the RFID reader on the exit. Quite a few $1,000s as well for IMSA to replace that. The job of that piece of equipment is actually really important. It's each of the Michelin tyres that are allocated to a particular car up and down the pit lane over the weekend has an RFID chip built into it. It's a technology that has been taken from and improved from truck tyres, from HGV, heavy goods vehicle tyres, to be able to keep track of when they need to be changed, how many miles they've done, etc., etc. And Michelin Motorsport realised that it was a better way to keep track of what was going on in terms of tyre usage, how many laps on a tyre, etc., etc., than, if you remember, the old marks on the side, car number 22, left front, set 1, all of that sort of stuff, and somebody standing in the end of the pit lane with effectively with a clipboard. There were barcodes on tyres for a little while that you had to submit. Now it's all automated, and IMSA travels with that set of RFID readers. They go at the end of every pit lane that we race at. Similar technology in the FIA World Endurance Championship as well. Michelin, the primary tyre supplier for all of the IMSA series, just making sure that we get the information as well. There is the option for the broadcaster to see the age of the tyre and which tyre set as well. We don't have that yet in IMSA. Michelin working with the series to try and make that available. It is available to us when we broadcast the FIA WEC. All right, couple of stragglers coming in, Shay. We've got Sebastian Bourdais, Louis Delatraz and Ryan Dalziel all coming into the pit lane for what I presume is a final splash to get them into the window for just one more stop to go.
You are correct. Sebastian Bourdais is already back out and moving. Louis Delatraz is already back out and moving. Let's make sure. Yep, Sebastian Bourdais is a smart driver. He stopped at the red light at the pit exit. Louis followed him. Ryan Dalziel came in and did his pit stop the last time around. Well, not the last time, but when the pits were open for the prototypes, taking over for Stuart Wiltshire. So he's had a long time waiting to get into the car. Matt Bell is also in for AWA with their Corvette. Corey Lewis is in for the Ford Mustang of Proton competition. Wow, that was a super short fuel for Corey. Barely plugged in the probe and pulled it back out again. So that was a really quick stop. Didn't need much fuel, but this is a track where it is a very long run up the hill to the start finish. And we have seen many cars get very close to being able to make it up the hill, but not quite.
Close here is not close enough. Hello to M Sport Extra. Says thank you for keeping us updated on IMSA Radio, what happens at Road and Murray, all kinds of additional info as well. I like the fact you're doing that little extra to keep the fans entertained. That's kind of you to say, M Sport Extra. Don't forget all the hard work that IMSA puts into this, including the GTP telemetry, which if you're on that page at the moment, imsa.com/GTP-telemetry, you'll be able to see that Ben Fiscal for the lead Proton competition Mustang sampling has 90% of his energy stint remaining. He's sitting in second gear at 55 miles an hour. Oh, just changed up to third. Amazing access that we have here, and of course to all of the other timing from Al Kamel. Right, Jeremy, behind the safety car, resetting the field with the GTPs coming to the front, and it's Porsche Proton, Acura Wayne Taylor number 10, back in the fight again after dropping away earlier in a safety car period. Porsche Penske Motorsport number 6, EOL Racing is the best of the LMP2s. In GTDs, we'll let those guys come back around. How is it looking now with a 70-minute dash to the flag?
Yeah, what's interesting is that the top 3 cars, number 5, 10 and 6, did not stop during this caution period. But what's really weird is that as we went to yellow, the number 10 was ahead of number 5. They have changed positions. I don't know why, because that was the order they were as we went to yellow. The reason for it must be the number 5 car was coming out of the pits when the caution came out. So perhaps when the caution came out, he was ahead of the 10. And they've just reset that order. I'm presuming that's what must have happened, because the number 10 did not come in during this round of pits. So number 5 came in right as the caution came out, right before the caution came out. So that must be what happened. So they've changed those two on the racetrack. Number 5 had number 10 and number 6, which was in the lap before number 5. And then everybody else behind that. So kind of interesting there. In GT, the cars, they're not reset now in class order, so it's however the GT cars are running is the order they are on a racetrack. Daniel Serra leads overall then. He's all of the prototype cars are on the same lap now. They've all done 35 laps. Everybody else has done, all the GT cars have done 34. And number 35 car then is leading overall ahead of Alessio Rivera in the car number 023, who is leading in GTD from Parker Thompson in second place in the Vassar Sullivan Lexus car number 12. Then it's a trio of pro cars, number 23 Aston Martin, number 14 Lexus, number 77 AO Racing Porsche, and then behind Lauren Heinrich is another GTD car. Third in the class is number 70, the McLaren Frederick Schandorf, then another pro car, Brian Sellers. Then the GTD Championship leader, Phil Ellis, is in 4th position in GTD class, ahead of Robbie Foley in the number 96 BMW, who is second in the points table in GTD.
That is your VP Racing in race updates. Remember, our Porsche keys to the race fuel could yet be an issue. The tyres here, we've seen people doing 2 tyre stops. Have patience and concentrate. Well, some people have had patience, some have not. And there has been penalties. There have been penalties. It's a 42-second run down pit lane here. Hello to Liam Harrow before we go back racing, who has a canine friend watching with IMSA Radio. I suspect your dog at the moment, Leo, who is called Dino, given that he's got the toy in his mouth, isn't watching the coverage, wants to go out and play by the look of it, by the look of that. At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch with us, it's Sirius XM channel 206. We're on Sirius XM for all of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. This is, I think, our 8th or 9th year at least, maybe it's our 10th anniversary actually. John Hindhoff and Jeremy Shaw from the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre, RS2 via the player at IMSA Radio, and if you're outside of the US, we've got the live world feed as well with no ad breaks. That's on imsaradio.com, top left hand side, either the drop down or the tab that says live video. Right, well, 65 minutes to go. 1 pit stop for the GTPs. I think the GTD Pros were just a little bit too far out to get to the end without some help from further neutralisation of the race. So Shea Adam will yet have more business down in the pit lane. The safety car has pulled away and left the field in the more than capable hands of Ben Fiscal. It's a young driver who I feel has a real future in this form of motor racing. Well renowned for single-seater racing, and he's gone early. So coming into Bill Mitchell corner, Bill Mitchell bend, he's able to take a full racing line at the final corner and heads up the hill. Looks like he had a little bit of understeer there, a little bit of push, and had to lift off, and Ricky Taylor is immediately alongside, and Ricky Taylor will lead as they come back to the green flag. Acura back in front. Ben Fiscal maybe showing a little bit of inexperience on the restart in this form of racing. He locks up a Michelin tyre as he goes into turn 1, and he's going to be vulnerable now to Matthew Jaminet. He's pulled across in front of him to the right hand side. He can't now move back, and Jaminet's going to tough it out round the outside in turn 3. Makes the pass. Jaminet, Matthew Jaminet, known as Jam Jam within the team. Well, that was a tiny bit of inexperience from Ben Fiscal, who's now moving around in front of the number 31 of Jack Aitken, but he loses another position, restarts in first. By the time he gets to turn 5, he's down in 4th position. Good restart originally, but just didn't have the front Michelins up to temperature and pressure coming through turn 14, and had to lift off, and that has cost him dearly, Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, Ricky Taylor was wise to that one. He wasn't hanging around. He was ready for Fiscal to get on the throttle, as you say, way earlier than is normal. You normally hit the throttle coming out of the final corner. He was on it way before that, and Taylor got a good run through that corner, got the draft on the front straight, and he is gone. And he's going to be hard to catch right now. In that pit stop, you know, coming up to that pit stop when he overtook, his teammate overtook, Philip Albuquerque overtook the GT car coming into the pit lane. They got a warning for that, and that's a stroke of luck, because if it had been anything worse, then he wouldn't be where he is right now. And he's going to try and check out at the front of this field, Ricky Taylor in car number 10.
Penalty for the team car to the leader, Louis Delatraz, and Wayne Taylor Racing working outside the pit box. That will be a drive-through, and we mentioned this earlier on for the number 14, but we haven't had time for this to be assessed as the number 40 Acura comes into the pit lane. That was the number 14 Ben Barnicat, Vassar Sullivan, leaving with the pit equipment attached, and that car will still have to come down on the pit lane. A little bit of damage to the right front of Delatraz's car as well. No, it's just the way the sun was shining. So he's come in straight away, the Dex Imaging number 40 Acura, to serve that drive-through penalty. I'm pleased to say that Dino is back watching as we go back to green. Thank you, Liam. That is a very, very smart dog. Oh, very good indeed. Well,
It's Ferrari
back
1-2
to
with
the front of the
GTD.
field. Yes, excellent work for the GTD drivers, Daniel Surra, who leads GTD Pro, and Alessio Rivera, who has the lead in GTD. Shea Adam is down in Wayne Taylor Racing. Ricky Taylor back at the head of the field. Philippe Albuquerque out the car. Let's have a chat with him, because I don't think he's very happy about the reorganisation prior to the restart, Shay.
Yeah, Philippe just being told really quick to put the team radio back on to listen to something that he's being told relevant to try and figure out a better car for Ricky, so we'll give him a second to do that. But Philippe, with a big smile on his face now, the reordering, it appeared, didn't matter, because Ricky was able to retake the lead in a very forceful yet fair manner off that restart. Trying to find out, interesting, he's talking this villa, as he called it. I'm up top of the WTR Andretti box, and it is about 20 different brains sitting in front of at least 30 different computers trying to figure everything out. Philippe giving them feedback on what the car was doing, and actually, interestingly enough, balancing it out with Jordan Taylor as well, trying to make sure that both cars were doing the same thing and getting the same feedback.
Whilst you're waiting there, Shay, I can tell you there's a second penalty for Ben Barnicat, pit lane protocol violation. That will be another drive-through, and also for the number 45, more than emergency service, and that is going to be stop plus 60. Oh, that is going to be painful then for that. Side-by-side contact there, or front-to-back contact there as well, and we're back to full course yellow with a huge piece of bodywork now loose on the front straight, and everyone's done well to avoid that. It's from the Multimatic Mustang. We'll sort that out. Let's have a word with Philippe Albuquerque.
But this should be helping Philippe Albuquerque. You weren't happy about the ordering of the cars before the yellow, but it didn't take Ricky very long to set that right. How is the car?
Yeah, it was very good. It was interesting because there is always multiple strategies going on in IMSA, because there is the strategy of, go long, but then you need to put in place what happens if it happens a yellow at 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And this goes a spiral on a meeting that it lasts hours. And even now, they were just asking me again, what's your call on the strategy on tires and whatever. So when I saw Jordan pitting in and no one else was staying behind, I was like very, very worried. But then the car was very good. I mean, I was on qualifying tires, but I was on low fuel. So it's a trade back, especially on a track that is so long. It's the longest track on a season. So weight is super important, especially the carousel. It helps a lot for the front tires. So it's exactly what they were calling me to advise. And I give my opinion, and yeah, more yellows it happens, the better it is, I believe. But again, the strategy keeps playing around.
I'll let you get back to strategizing then. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes to talk to us.
Of course, thank you guys.
Philippe Albuquerque up here on the pit box. And while I'm up here, actually, I was able to see it was contact between the 27 Aston Martin, I think that's Roman D'Angelo to support that car now, and the 65 at Joey Hand. It resulted in part of Joey's bumper being left between turns 12 and 13, and then the rest of it flying off later around the lap.
At the start-finish line, very, very nasty looking. It was the whole of the rear cover on the bumper shear. Thank you for that. Thank you to Philippe. Hello to Daniel Antoine, who's a big Ben Pascal fan. Ben down in 4th position at the moment. Thank you to Bobson, who is at Galaxy on Twitter, for pointing that out. And best to all of you. Well, Jeremy, yellows breed yellows, and we've got. Remember when I said patience? And I wish I'd never mentioned that now. That Portuguese to the race.
Yeah, no, we haven't seen a lot of that, have we, this afternoon? And shame, because we had a nice, a really interesting middle stint, good long stint there in the middle of the race. That was cool, but back to yellow again now, and we're inside the final hour. So, I don't think the GTP cars can can gamble on getting to the end from here. I think it's a bit too much. It wouldn't. I mean, this will be a short yellow because it's within 15 minutes of the last full course caution. So we will not be opening the pits during this sequence before we go back to green. So that's kind of the good news, but it's certainly a headache for the strategists. For the number 52 car, by the way, came in, I think, right as we went back to green. I don't think that was a penalty.
In the Europol, yeah.
Well, that was a penalty.
No, in the Europol, I don't think that's a penalty. I'm scrolling back through the myriad of penalties that I have. No, that was Tom Dillman. Now, the PTs, because they've got a reduced fuel capacity, what do they do? 35, 40 minutes in IMSA competition?
Yeah, bit over 40.
Right.
Between 40 and 45. So they will need only a splash when they come back in again, because they're still on the lead. They're definitely going to have to make another pit stop, no question about that. And I'm pretty sure the GTP cars are as well. But although we've seen some pretty remarkable fuel economy amongst the GTP cars, and they were all in. They've done 4 laps under caution during that last caution. Number 01 car did come in and top off, as did the number 40. So that could be
right.
Play into their favour.
Jeremy, I sold you some bad information there in the Inter-Europol. It's just that they're left with equipment attached for Inter-Europol, but that was before the caution, before this one. They just haven't had a chance to serve it. A bit like the penalties that Ben Barnegat and Lexus had. They've got 2 now to serve. So that was indeed a drive-through for that team. But of course, they've served it now.
At least it's been served, yes.
Yes, exactly right. It's been difficult for race control to advise people of those, and then for people to do them, because obviously you are not allowed to come in and serve them whilst the safety car is out for the drive-through penalty. So my apologies, and thanks to Aaron for reminding me of that. I had scrolled back, but clearly not far enough. Quite a lot of people saying, can we have a 6-hour race? Can this just keep going? Well, we did used to have a 500-mile race here, of course, in IMSA competition. Did we go to I think we went to a 4-hour race here once as well, once or twice. That was during the ALMS era. At least one of those was cut short by an horrendous thunderstorm, if memory serves. It was pitch black in the middle of the afternoon from memory. This is a great track, and I do think that it would be good if we could have this one as one of the longer races, because it would maybe take out that little impatience that we've been seeing. But of course, now we've got the extra race at Indianapolis, which is a 6-hour race, the additional long race. IMSA have been trying, and John Doonan's explained this, I think, rather well, the president of IMSA. They're trying to balance out the running time for all the different classes so that it doesn't make huge budgetary differences for the teams. And just adding extra hours. Hours is cost on a race car. Everything. It's tyres, it's engine, it's brakes, etc., etc. It's not necessarily about how many events, but how many hours that you are actually running competitively on the track. Now, you might say that some of these teams are funded by multinational original equipment and manufacturers, car manufacturers, and you'd be right, but a lot of them aren't as well. But even the big corporations have to justify their budgets, and if we're going to keep racing and keep racing at a high standard, then we've got to be cognizant of that. And indeed, GTP and the coming together of GTP and the hypercar regulations from FIA WEC, that is all part of that budgetary consideration, and it's brought people like Peugeot and Ferrari back to the top class. And indeed, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, which Heart of Racing, Gabe Newell, putting that project together. And that car's been testing in the UK recently, just down the road to me at Silverstone, and then up at Donington last week with Heart of Racing drivers Ian James, one of the driving forces behind that. And that's with engineering help, of course, from Aston Martin, but not funded by Aston Martin Racing. It is privately funded. 2 cars for the FIA WEC next year, as is mandated, and 1 in IMSA, where we still are allowed to have a singleton car. And when it comes, of course, it will be the first ACO regulation GTP hypercar. As yet, we've not had any of the other manufacturers, but I had a long chat with Ian some time ago, actually, start of the season, when we were in Qatar for the WEC prologue, and he assured us on mic that they are not deserting IMSA. IMSA is still a primary priority for them. Of course, they do want to go racing in the WEC and at Le Mans, and the easiest way to get to Le Mans is to have your 2 entries in the WEC. So look out for the Valkyrie GTP class car next year, the first of the ACO regulation cars to come to IMSA. Just under 50 minutes to go. Let's go racing at Road America. Weaving left and right, Ricky Taylor got on the power nice and early, and he's pulled out a decent gap back to Mathieu Jaminet. And actually, it's not Mathieu Jaminet in second, is it? That is the, yes it is, Mathieu Jaminet, the number 6 car. My apologies, second guessed myself there. The car with the white pinstripes. Then Jack Aiken and Ben Fiscal for Cadillac and Porsche. Felipe Nasser in the number 7 Porsche next up. A huge battle in LMP2. Paul-Loup Chaton for AO Racing took the start in the lead, going through to second place. Ben Hanley's got past Nicholas Nielsen, and the Wins United Autosport USA car up the second for the moment, but being pressurised down into turn number 5, and everybody else in the LMP2 field is behind them, and there is contact there going up to the top of the hill. Sideways manoeuvre from Scott Andrews, who's muscled his way through the traffic there. LMP2 today, Jeremy's been very physical.
Yeah, Felipe Fraga, he's the one on the move there, making a couple of very robust passes there to move that number 74 Riley Orica up into contention in that class. Absolutely flying, he is. Whoa! Uh-oh, at least he was.
Well, he has been flying. He was in the air, the 74 car. He's gone sideways and somehow doesn't hit anything. We've seen so many cars go off at the exit of the carousel this weekend. He's on the motorcycle chicane. He's got to work out how to get the car back on the track. And very sensibly, he does not go contra race. He's going to need new dive planes at the front of that car. He was just too quick on the exit of the chicane. Somehow manages to avoid the edge of the concrete blocks that claimed the BMW and Nick Yellerly earlier on. Takes out a Mission Food sign and one of the Road America markers, but they're just Corex boards. And he is back on the track. Shea Adam will sit by the pit, I am sure. So frantic action in LMP2. How I love LMP2. Please, it's got an extension in its current form from the FIA, the ACO, and indeed from IMSA. Paul-Loup Chatin then leading from Ben Hanley for the number 2 Wins the United Autosport USA car. Then the 22 car, Paul de Resta, the Scotsman in that car, now resident in Monaco. That car looked way out of it earlier on, all the way to the back of the field after problems. But now the top 3 together at turn 5, Jeremy, and LMP2 racing has ignited. It's boiled over.
Yeah, brilliant. And Felipe Fraga, he'd moved himself from 6th to 3rd at that restart in the class before that off. So he's got a lot of work to do now, even if the car isn't damaged. And there is off the road one of the Conquest cars.
34, Jeremy.
car, so it's not the car that's leading in GTD Pro.
And that was side by side with the Wright 120 Porsche. So that was Elliot Skier and Albert Costa Balboa. They were battling over 9th and 10th in GTD, and the Ferrari driver coming off slightly the worst. Everybody's got their elbows out here as we're heading into the last 3/4 of an hour, 46 minutes. It's very brisk on the socials. Apologies if we can't keep up with it, but the action is so frenetic here. Absolutely incredible. Down towards as Felipe Fraga, I'm just hearing, has stayed out through the kink for the GTD cars. Daniel Serra and Alessio Rivera, the two Ferraris for Conquest and Triazzi, first and second, and leading their respective classes. Brian Sellers still holding on for Paul Miller Racing after a good run earlier on by his teammate.
Yeah, and in fact, he's just overtaken on the last lap at number 12 car and at number 23. So Brian Sellers is absolutely charging right now. They've had a disappointing season with his last few races at number 1 Paul Miller Racing, but they're looking to turn things around here. That's the car that won in GTD non-pro last year, and looking to repeat that victory this time in GTD Pro, up to second in the position in the class now.
Tom Dillman with another drive-through, heading through the pit lane now, and that will drop the Inter Europol car down. They've been pretty competitive this weekend. Shea Adam has the news on that one.
That was the reason that Riley had to change their nose during the pit stop. Remember, that caught me off because they had initially changed their tail. Well, it was the Tom Dillman car that stopped in the transition lane, and it was Felipe Fraga who hit him coming into his box. So he's already had one new nose today, one new tail has Felipe Fraga, but race control deemed that the 52 left its pit box in an unsafe manner, and it was an unsafe release.
Thank you, Shea Adam, on top of things down there. Big thanks to our IMSA pit lane team as well for passing the information to Shea. And we should say thank you to all of the team, public relations representatives and the drivers as well, for giving us their time in what is a pretty pressurised cauldron of excitement. Ricky Taylor, with the fastest lap of the race at the front of the field, has now got 5 seconds on Porsche Penske Motorsports 963. One more pit stop for all of the cars at the front of the field, and the top 3 setting their best laps of the race. It's 5 seconds between the number 10, the dark blue and black Wayne Taylor Racing Acura. The number 6 is the white pinstripe Porsche Penske Motorsport 963. Jack Aitken in the 31, the Whelan Cadillac racing car. That's the red and dark grey car, just another second further back. That's your top 3 in GTP and LMP2. It's madness. Everybody's giving their absolute best. The 99 Hill Racing Purple Dragon, that's Spike, Paul Shatland leading barely half a second from Ben Hadley in the Wins United Autosport number 2 car. Team car for United Autosports USA, Paul di Resta in the 22. They're more traditional dark blue, red and white cars. In third place, United Autosports, Zach Brown at Silverstone today for MotoGP. And on the grid, saw him being interviewed there and heard him saying that MotoGP was the pinnacle of motorsport, which I thought was interesting. Has a weekend off and goes to a racetrack. Good man. Can't knock Zach for that. Great racing from Road America, says Connor Hudson. Go ahead, Jeremy.
He'll probably be at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca next couple of weekends as well for the Rolex reunion as well.
Driving a stunning array of cars that he owns. Absolutely right. Side by side a moment ago, the 4-tier Lamborghini number 78 and the 64 Ford Mustang going through the penultimate and the final corner. Well, that's something I've not seen happening before. Harry Tinknell laps down, but the 64 back out on the circuit, and indeed Joey Hand's car back out on the circuit as well, the 65, after the bodywork exchange. So those cars weren't only the bodywork required for the 65 Ford Multimatic Mustang GT3. So the 40 Lamborghini, they weren't in a battle with that car. However, down into Canada corner, that's a stunning manoeuvre for the Aston Martin number 27 that has just got by Tommy Milner. Roman De Angelis and Tommy have been fighting for the last couple of laps. They're in different categories. Tommy had sneaked ahead for a moment, but Roman was not giving it up and came straight back. There was a little bit of paint traded, wrap traded between them. They're not in the same class. They are battling for 32nd and 33rd position, of course, as Tommy came from a long way back. Oh, and a bit of bodywork from the Corvette, I think, being pinged off. It was the door mirror on the Corvette, or the Corvette, part of the Corvette door mirror, because it was red, and they're in the pro class that came off. But fighting into class between the GTD Pro and the GTDs, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely right. Boy, that Corvette had some speed on that Kettle Bottom straightaway, didn't it? Heading in towards Canada corner. Yikes.
And the right-hand door mirror. Yeah, the right-hand door mirror is gone now on that Corvette, and that's the side you really need for Tommy Milner. Although the Corvette, of course, has got a rear-facing camera. That's technology that they've had for a long time. Ben Hanley resets the LMP2 fastest lap at a 1:54.234, but ahead of him, Paul-Loup Chatin's done his fastest lap of the race on a 54.296 against the 234. 54.344 for Paul di Resta and 54.699 for Scott Andrews. The top four in LMP2 all doing their fastest lap, and we are in the window now for LMP2 to do their final pit stop. So we might see somebody dive to the pit lane, Jeremy.
Yeah, could well do. Get that stop done early on, and once again, look at that Corvette. Oh. No love
Opposite
lost
way
there,
around on the track
Tommy
this time.
Milner. Wow.
Yeah, Tommy Milner this
had
time
the
gets the inside line and makes the pass. He's slightly deranged the front right-hand wing of the Aston Martin, and now Stephen McAleer attacking as well in the GTD gradient car. Now that is a pass for position for 7th, and I think Roman De Angelis is wounded there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 GT cars across the line together. Super move from the number 34, Alberg Costa Balboa, who was elbowed out earlier on. He's picking his way through the traffic there, but goes way wide. Is followed wide by Matt Bell in the AWA Corvette. And there's almost 3 wide going down into turn number 3. A tap from the Lamborghini, the Forte car, onto the green and yellow Porsche of Wright Motorsport, the number 120. My goodness me, this looks like something that you get in Gran Turismo 7, where you've got 2 laps to pass the whole field. It's incredible stuff. And another bit of contact, this time from Elliott Skier on the back of the Forte Lamborghini, which is now wounded. So many of those cars are wounded now. And have we lost the 34 car? We have. We've lost the Conquest car out of that. Oh, race control are going to have to get a hold of this. I've lost him from my timing screen, Jeremy.
Which one?
The
34.
The Conquest, yeah. The Forte cars had to pull off and stop. And meantime, the right car's going to have to come in as well. Shea Adam has had some LMP2 cars in while we were watching the scrap, and we've got a full course yellow,
Yep.
And this is important because we've had some LMP2 cars in, Shea.
We had Ben Hanley just leaving. He was getting the last of his fuel as the full course caution came out. That is perfect timing for Ben Hanley, who last year was caught out by a full course caution. That ultimately meant he had to refuel at an inopportune time and pulled into the pits from the lead of the race, costing him a chance of victory. 7th place finish for him instead, even though he has won this race back in 2020. So I'm definitely going to need to dive in with Ben Keating. But meanwhile, up on the wall, they were waiting for the Forte Lamborghini. He was unable to get it all the way back around, so that resulted teammates in that Lamborghini being less than happy. As the United Autosports crew guys are celebrating, they're doing fist bumps. I almost got punched in the face by one of them, actually. And let's come around to Ben, because this was a perfect timing. Ben Keating, this yellow, it's on your favor. This yellow's in your favor.
Yeah, it's been a really good race so far. I guess that's all I can really say. Sometimes the chips don't fall your direction, and they haven't so far for us this season. We haven't been on a podium yet, but you know, fingers crossed so far today, it's gone very well.
The United crew deserves a massive round of applause after yesterday in qualifying. First off, what happened in qualifying, and how proud are you of them?
Yeah, it was amazing. This has truly been a big team effort. And maybe more so for the guys who are putting the car back together after I totally destroyed it in free practice too. You know, they worked their tails off for 3.5 hours to get it ready for qualifying. So excited to get out in qualifying. It's hard after you've had an incident like that to go out and have confidence. But the car felt so good in qualifying. I had no problem pushing the limits. Especially going back around the carousel where I lost it last time. I was able to go even faster than I went before, and the car felt so good, and that's carried on to the race. And the car felt so good during the race in my first hour, and we just got lucky with the full course yellow, the timing of that. So, here's hoping.
Here's hoping indeed. No better way to thank your crew than with some champagne on this hot day.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Shay.
Oh, I love listening to Ben Keating's voice. That was a big incident, an unusual mistake from Keating, but great effort from United Autosports USA. It's been a wild and woolly 5 or 10 minutes, particularly in GTD across both classes. Aston Martin and Corvette have got a long and respectful history of racing each other, even across classes, but some of the driving has left a bit to be desired, shall we say. Too many bits of cars hanging about all over the place, and unfortunately people's races have been affected adversely, and looks like we've I think got everybody back to the pit lane, other than that Forte car, number 20, 120 Porsche, right car, green and yellow car. Love that livery. That ended a closed pit, but of course it's got damage, so they're allowed emergency service. There's debris pretty much around all the circuit, Jeremy, at the moment. I think people need to go. We'll have to have the track services people going out with brooms and metal detectors at the moment.
Yeah, that was pretty wild, wasn't it? I mean, absolutely incredible stuff there. And for me, Tommy Milner, he was pushing the envelope there with his pass on Roman DeAngelis. I mean, he definitely lent on him coming out of the corner. And if that's the way he wants to be raced, okay, fair enough. I think it was a robust move. Most of those other moves that we saw, particularly down at turn 5, I mean, it looked pretty much okay. Number 78 Lamborghini was kind of defending that inside line going down to the corner, and I think it was Elliott Skier perhaps trying to sort of muscle his way through there on the inside, and a little bit of contact there, and clear some damage to the rear end of the Lamborghini, number 78 car, and that eventually pulled off at the exit of turn 6. But while it was slowing down going up the hill, that caused all sorts of dramas behind him. So just kind of unfortunate. I'm not sure anybody did anything particularly egregious there, but it's a shame because this was boiling up really nicely, and it's going to be really interesting to see. Particularly, you talked about LMP2, those 3 cars, number 2, 79 and 33 ducking into pit lane right before the yellow came out. The number 52 car, by the way, was in the lap before, did he get? I don't think he would have lost a lap. He might have been trapped behind the safety, the leader patch, but he should get the wave around, I think. Yeah, correct. He's back on. He is on the lead lap, right, so yeah, that's fine. So those 4 cars have made their final pit stops. number 2, 79, 33, and 52. The others
That
haven't.
being Ben Handley in the United Autosports LMP2. They're all LMP2. JDC Miller's number 79. And by the way, haven't they done a great job with that car in their first entry in the LMP2 category? And what was the other one, Jeremy? You said 52, Tom Dillman?
Yeah, and 33, the Sean Creech Motorsports Ligier, that was in on that lap as well.
Yeah, indeed, you were spot on. The Inter-Europol car is the first of the cars that got the wave around, I reckon, as he goes through.
It's the only one, actually.
Complete nonsense, actually. Yeah.
No, that's right. It's the only one. All the others were on the same lap as the overall GTP race leaders.
Other cars that have had a wave around from different classes. Number 14, Lexus. The number 65, I think. Yes, that's been given a wave around. I'm just checking on our tracker system here as well. So that's been given a wave around in GTD PRO, but that car's many laps down for Joey Hand. And
no, it's not, John. No, it's not. That's back on the lead lap.
It's back on the lead lap. That has got it back on the lead lap then. Yes, my apologies, Jeremy. So that wave around has got that car back on the wave lap. And Danny Formal for Wayne Taylor Racing in the Lamborghini. That is many laps down, but that's been given away by as well. Phew-wee. Ricky Taylor leads behind the safety car.
Yeah, and he was gone, wasn't he? Yeah, he checked out at the front of the field. He was absolutely gone. He set a new fastest lap of the race, by the way, on lap 44. We just completed lap 49. On lap 44, Ricky Taylor set a new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 50.365, which, interesting, is quite a long way down from the fastest lap last year. It was a 49.6 by that same car, actually, Philip Albuquerque at the wheel of that car last year. The average speed, by the way, that was of 132.871 miles an hour.
Don't forget, at the end of our international TV broadcast, we will head to Michelin post-race tech, hashtag Michelin PRT. If you've got any pointer rising questions, I suspect there might be a few comments on what we've seen today. Whether you're at the track, further afield, hashtag Michelin PRT at IMSA Radio. That's exclusively on RS2, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels. We've still got to work out our BDO No Strategy Award. Just one nomination from each of Shay, Jeremy and me. And at the moment, I've got no clue, because this one, in terms of strategy, it's been thrown wide open. Every time I think somebody has pulled an absolute blinder, the safety car comes out again. In fairness, the number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing car coming into the pits when it did, was that 1 or 2 safety cars ago, when Philippe Albuquerque was still behind the wheel. They managed to get that car in and out. That was impressive, and they are coming in again with 28 minutes to go. So this will be the last pit stop then for the number 10 car. So they have jumped, and Jaminet stays out. Aitken stays out. So the Porsche number 6, the Cadillac, everyone else staying out apart from the LMP2 field. Shea Adam is in the pit lane. Crucial decision here from the number 10 Konica Minolta Acura crew.
It was, but it was a decision made long ago. The crew has been on the wall for about the last 15 minutes, anticipating an opportunity to bring Ricky in for the yellow. So this is either the BDO No Strategy call of the race, or it's not. This is fuel and tires for Ricky. They're changing the left sides first, and they are going to do all 4. They are sticker tires. So let's see, Ricky waiting on the fuel and the tire change to be complete. Still waiting on the left rear to get done. We also have Paul-Loup Chaton in for Spike the Dragon. That is AO Racing. Fuel and 4 tires for him as well. And he was battling against Ben Hanley before the caution came out. Ben Hanley came in, remember, before, and did do fuel and tires. We've got fuel and tires for Era and Ryan Dial, 2 times the winner here in the LMP2. Fuel for the number 22 as well, that's Dan Goldberg. Getting back out is Red Light, so very heads up by Ricky Taylor to not blow that, but it should be PJ Hyatt next in line, and yes it is, so PJ cycles out in front of all the other P2 cars. New nose yet again for Felipe Fraga, so that car with its second nose of the race. It's been a rough one for championship leaders in the number 74, and also just a quick update, the number 120, Wright Motorsport Porsche, they were working on the right front for quite some time on that car, but it has just been pushed by hand back behind the wall. That's at the cutout at pit in. That is the closest cutout to them, and they have officially retired.
Oh, dear me. GT pits Altman, and at the moment then, Mathieu Jaminet for Porsche, Penske Motorsport in the 963 leads from Jack Aiken, Whelen Cadillac, Cadillac V Series R number 31, the red and dark grey car. Then Felipe Nasr in the car he shares with his teammate, and he is therefore in, it's a Dane Cameron car, isn't it? Sorry, I got my Porsches mixed up there for a second. I was about to say Nick Tandy and Felipe Nasr, and I knew that was wrong. Then Ben Fiscal in 5th position for Proton and the Mustang sampling. They've been there or thereabouts all day, whether it's been Jimmy Bruni or Ben Fiscal, notwithstanding Ben's perhaps slight little bit of inexperience on that restart when he went from first down to 4th, but he's still in the fight with a car that clearly has pace. Then it's Seb Bourdais in the repaired new nose 01 Cadillac. These are all the same lap, by the way. Then Jesse Cron in the best of the BMW M Hybrid V8. Now, when was Seb Bourdais last in?
During that last caution period.
So that was what, 20 laps ago? Or no, not even that.
No. 16 laps ago.
16 laps ago.
14 laps. Yeah, 16 laps ago. That came in for a splash.
Jeremy, there's only 25 minutes to go, and we're not back to green yet.
Quite.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean they don't. You know, they.
Who do you think of the GTPs, Jeremy? Who do you think can go to the end, if anyone?
Oh, they can all go for the end for sure, or they reckon they can. It'll be fairly tight, I think. But no, I mean there's been so much caution during this race, and you know if we're having the full Monty here, you know, with the pits are going to be open for GT cars as well. Not quite sure whether any of those are going to need to come in actually. So that might save a bit of time because they've already made their final stops. So we should be able to go green. Oh, there's a couple coming in. Who's that?
Ferrari.
Is that a Triazzi car?
Yeah, that is Alessio Rivera,
Yeah.
the leading GTD car into the pit lane.
Yeah.
Now, Shea Adam, the 023, on its way to you from second in the GT category and leading GTD. However, how far back is Parker Thompson? No, he's gone through. I've just seen Parker Thompson go through for the Vassar Sullivan Lexus. Shea, what's going on?
Fuel and tires for the Triarci Competizione Ferrari, so this is not what they had hoped, but their strategy was slightly off of everyone else's, and that's what this has resulted in. Also into the pit lane, the number 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, with quite a bit of damage to the right-hand side of that car after we saw the contact between Roman DeAngelis and Tommy Milner, and the bumper is actually pushed out. Also into the pit lane, the number 14, Ben Barnican. Has not been a great day for the champions from last year in the GTD Pro category. Fuel and 4 tires for Roman DeAngelis. Fuel only for Ben Barnican, as the crew actually pulled him back a tiny little bit. Oh no, he is doing tires as well. He had overshot his box, so 4 tires for Ben Barnican, 4 tires for Roman DeAngelis. Danny Formal has finally gotten out of the 45 Lamborghini from WTR Andretti, so I am going to go and try and stick a mic under his nose to find out what happened to that car earlier on when he jumped out of it. First car back out and rolling was the 27. Super long stop for Triarci. They've lost any hope at a win for the Ferrari team.
Jeremy, of course, they did not stop at that last yellow, but that was a lot of fuel that went into that 023 car.
Yeah, Yeah, because that car's only made one pit stop during this race. That was back on lap 20, a long time ago. So they were kind of
Is that not the same for? Is that not the same for Conquest as well? The 35.
No, the number 35. That was in lap 27, which was more than an hour and a half to go. So they're going to be scratching a bit here. I mean, they needed a lot of caution. Whether they're going to have enough, I'm not quite sure. The number 77 car and the number 14. Well, number 14 just came in, didn't it? Number 77 did not. That was on the same strategy now as the number 35 car. Pretty much all of the other cars were in during that caution period, which was right after those other cars were on the pit lane. So,
Danny, first question, what happened earlier on with that apparent fire in the car?
Yeah, we had an electrical issue in the right side of the car. I went through 7 and I lost all power. And lost all power steering, all shifting. Came back into the track, the car restarted. Went through 8, went through the middle of the carousel, and just everything shut off again, and the right side just started smoking like crazy. Luckily, I paid attention in the driver's meeting. I knew there was a fire station at the exit of the carousel, and I was able to turn the car left as hard as I could with no power steering. And I saw a little tiny spark, so I ran as fast as I could, as probably everyone saw in the replay, to try to get the fire extinguisher. But luckily, when I got back, there was no fire. The team saw what the problem was. We fixed it. And it's unfortunate because I think I had really good pace. Our top 5 was definitely on the table. So hurts for the championship. We were 7th highest running Lambo. So, it's not ideal, but I'm so grateful for this team. They worked so hard to find the problem in, 20 minutes. It's unbelievable how good these guys are. I'm so grateful to be part of WTR Andretti, Dex Imaging, Lamborghini, number 45. It's been consistent this year. Our luck will come.
It will.
Thank you so much.
Coming back to green flag in a moment or two. I just want to quickly run through the prototype class, the GTP class, and give you who's got what in terms of energy to go to the end of the race. We don't just talk, of course, about the fuel load, because it is mandated how much energy you can use between pit stops. So at the moment, Mathieu Jaminet in the lead Porsche has 40%. That is the least of any of the cars that is out there at the moment, Jack Aitken, 50%. Felipe Nasr, 45%. Ben Fiscal, this is the 4th place car, another Porsche, 45%. 50% for Seb Bourdais in the 01 Cadillac. 24 BMW, 45%. Louis Delatraz, 50%. 50% for Timon van der Helm, who'll finish off in the Yellow Submarine, the 85 JDC Miller Motorsport 963. And Ricky Taylor, with that last stop, 85%. Now, they clearly didn't fill that car with either fuel or electrical energy, but he has a huge advantage on all of the other cars around him. He sits in 9th position. He has lightly scrubbed tyres. They didn't have the stickers on them, but they hadn't done a lot of work. They may have just been the set that they scrubbed in the first lap of qualifying. And Ricky is going to restart in 9th with the car, Jeremy Shaw, that has the fastest lap of the race by something like, what, half a second?
That's exactly right, and more than that over most of the cars. I mean, the only other cars around about half a second was his teammate in number 40 car, and the only other car in the 51s was Jimmy Bruni in the early stages of this race. Everybody else is in the 52, so he's got a lot of work to do, because he's got a lot more energy than the other guys, but the other guys have got enough to get to the end from here with all this caution, so they're going to be running pretty much flat out. But as you suggest there, their flat out isn't as fast as the number 10 car's flat out, so this is going to be a really interesting final, 15 minutes or so of this race. Whether he can work his way through all of them, I think it's going to be a bit of a tall order, but Ricky's sure as heck going to try. Well, by the way, number 31 car, Jack Aitken, has driven pretty much all this race, hasn't he? Because Pipo Derani got out of that first caution period and didn't get back in again. So Jack Aitken has done all bar the first. Well, I mean, Pipo did what, 4 laps of green? That's it.
Yeah, indeed. So we should also mention, while we're talking about that number 10, Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti car in 9th, that all of the fastest sector times belong to that car as well. It's not as if it's just got a bit of an advantage somewhere. It's faster across the whole lap than everybody else, and faster by the kind of margin that Jeremy was saying. Here we go then, 16.5 minutes. All of the podium positions up for grabs in all 4 categories. This is how we like it in IMSA. It's the dash for cash, the dash for points as we move into the important part of the season. Across the line, Mathieu Jaminet restarts the 963 for Porsche Penske Motorsport. Behind him, weaving left and right, the Englishman Jack Aitken in the Whelen Cadillac. Number 31, Ben Fiscal and Sebastian Bourdais. I think it's fair to say at different ends of their motorsport career, and that's no disrespect to either of them. They're battling for position, and off goes Louis Delatraz at the bottom of the hill at turn number 3. He was side by side on the restart, and he's come off the worst. Still weaving going on. Fiscal in the middle of the road, does not move though, that's fair, but here comes Sebastian Bourdais, and there's the experience, Jeremy. He just waited, cut to the inside and makes the position.
But look who's right behind him, it's Ricky Taylor from the back of the field in GTP. He's already up now into, 5th position, I think, and absolutely flying. Oh no.
And that is the number 22, Paul di Resta, that has gone off. They had been challenging at the front of the LMP2 field, restarted in 7th position, 6th position actually, and he's gone off at turn 8, and now will have to fight his way back onto the back of the grid. But as we suggested, Ricky Taylor in that number 10 has got the pace. Meantime, at the front of the field, side by side at Canada corner for the lead, Porsche, Cadillac, Porsche, almost running off the track, and here comes Felipe Nasr in 3rd position. The lead car kicks up dust. There's a lot of dirt on the racing surface, and not just off the racing line, but so many people onto the grass, and it's settled on the racing surface, and it is affecting grip. And here comes the battle for second now. Jack Aitken went for the lead in Canada corner, drops to 3rd position by the time he crosses the line. Oh, moving across in front. That's going to really take the attention of race control from Felipe Nasr, who ushers Jack Aitken gently to the outside of turn number 1, but it will be the move before that where Felipe Nasr had got 2nd position but then moved across to the right to block the inside of the corner. I think he was clear, but my goodness me, Felipe Fraga back into the pit lane. That was too many crew over the wall working on the car. And we're going to have a drive-through for the number 22 as well. So Paul di Resta, having spun, the team did not do the minimum refuel time. That is not at all standard operational procedure for United Autosports USA, and Triazi in the O23, same thing, did not adhere to the minimum fuel refueling time. And there's another one there. It's the number 14 again. This is the Lexus jump restart drive-through. These penalties, incredible. Also, the number 78 is going to get a drive-through for incident responsibility as well. So there's going to be a lot of cars driving through the pit lane. But at the front, and Roger Penske is here this weekend. It's Porsche Penske Motorsport 1 and 2.
Yeah, and the speed of that number 7 car just blew past the Cadillac on the front straight heading into turn 1, didn't he, on that last lap? I was quite surprised to see that, but look now who is really close behind Jack Aitken. That would be the Ricky Taylor Acura, absolutely flying. By far the fastest lap of those 4 cars at the front. He blew past Sebastian Bourdais going into turn 1, did Ricky Taylor, and he's now set his sights on those 3 leaders.
Well, we mentioned that car and said that might be an opportunity. There really is absolutely incredible stuff. And apologies to Jack Aiken. I think I called him an Englishman earlier on. He was born in London, but of South Korean heritage. I was going by the country of his birth. Yes, absolutely. But let's just put that right. This is incredible, and this could be the BDO No Strategy Award, Jeremy, right here for Wayne Taylor. This is an accurate track. They own the lap records going back to all kinds of different categories, the old LMP2 category, the old DPI category, the current GTP category. All of those are accurate cars, and there's no doubting that both of their ARX 06s have been quick this weekend. They locked out the front row. That was single lap pace, but even on the race stints they've looked good, and they've got a tyre and an energy advantage here. And fair play to Ricky Taylor, you can have all of that, but you've got to be able to use it. And what he's done in that early couple of laps has given himself a chance of a podium, or even better, because he didn't get hung up in the traffic on the restart, Jeremy. And that, to me, has been the key to getting him within the shout of winning this race.
Yeah, but I mean, they needed to make a pit stop, so it wasn't a strategic decision. The strategy was not coming in when they could have done early on during the caution period. So I'm not sure about that one, but it's going to be really make things interesting. These last 10 minutes now, 10 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this race, and he's close right up at the tail of Jack Aiken and head down the back straight away.
Brilliant stuff from Ricky Taylor. No team orders from Penske. And Porsche Penske Motorsport 6 and 7 running in that order at the moment. But Jeremy Shaw, might I just add into this equation with under 10 minutes to go now, which of the 2 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963 teams are better placed in the championship?
Well, the number 40 car, but they're pretty much out of it now with that mistake from Delatrace. He's moved on to the tail again of Tymon van der Helm, number 85 car, but he's got a lot of work to do from 9th position right now with that mistake at turn 3 at the restart for Louis Delatrace. So it's really all about Ricky Taylor now. Can he close down these 3 leaders? But it's certainly interesting to me that the Cadillac teams have been complaining all season long that it's awfully difficult to race with their car because they're not very fast on the straights, and it was very apparent there shortly after that restart when the number 7 Porsche blasted past Jack Aiken heading into towards turn 1.
And the better placed of the 2 Porsches is the car in 2nd position at the moment, and I wonder if that might play into the calculations at the front of the field. 8.5 to go. Jack Aiken puts in his fastest lap of the race. Felipe Nasr puts in his fastest lap of the race. There's 1.6 seconds between the top 3 and 2.2 seconds between the top 4. Yes, we've had a late race caution, but this is IMSA GTP racing at its absolute zenith. A great venue, a fantastic racetrack, a record crowd, and brilliant racing. Traffic to deal with now as the Conquest Ferrari stays to driver's right as the leaders go past. Excuse me, that's the Triarci car that was being passed there as the leaders went down towards turn number 5. Meantime, in the classes, Ben Hanley has eked out a 3-second lead for United Autosports and wins, along with Ben Keating, Scott Andrews. What a run for JDC Miller Motorsports. Yeah. And that 79 car in second, and they're 1.2 seconds ahead of Ryan DL, who's got Paul-Loup Chatin right on his tail. That one's not over for LMP2. And in GTD Pro, Conquest from Paul Miller Racing, a second between those 2. Parker Thompson leads handily by which I mean just over a second, from Robbie Foley in Turner Motorsport in GTD, and he's got Ross Gunn between him and the rest of the GTD field. That's the VP Racing update with 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, and Parker Thompson will be hoping that that pro car stays right where it is, because the Aston Martin doesn't seem to be having the opportunity to catch the two leaders in the class. So if he's happy to settle for third position in that GTD Pro class, that'd be great news for Parker Thompson, because he can hang on there without the pressure from behind that Robbie Foley would otherwise be imparting on him. And it's been another really good run for Turner Motorsport. What a season they've had. I mean, it's obviously the car to beat this season has been number 57 Windward Mercedes, which is running now in the 5th position, so a good run for them. But Turner Motorsport, they've done a great job all season long as well. New fastest lap, personal
sorry,
fastest
Jeremy, go
lap
ahead.
Yeah, new best laps of the race for the top 3 cars on that lap. 51.5 for Jaminet, 51.8 for Nasser in 2nd position. The gap between those two Porsches now over a second.
Oh my goodness, Ricky Taylor still there with just 6 minutes to go. Shea Adam, your nomination for the BDO Nose Strategy Award, if you will. Just one nomination.
Number 2, they got Ben Hanley in before the yellow came out. It was their timing for the stop anyway, and then they had the good fortune of the yellow.
Right, okay, thank you. Jeremy Shaw, could be any of the categories. BDO Nose Strategy Award.
I mean, the number 6 car has done a heck of a job, because they what was it?
Had a penalty early on.
They had that penalty early on, and to come back from that to be here leading the race is pretty darn impressive. And they've done that primarily as a result of when they called their pit stops.
I'm going to give it a shout out to the newbies in LMP2, the 79 crew, JDC, Miller Motorsports. It's been pace as well as strategy, but dare I say this, but I am going to say this, neither Jerry Kraut or Scott Andrews have done anything wrong in this race. Scott Andrews has been really quick. Jerry Kraut did his job. They did the change at the right time, and they could very well be on for a podium at the moment. They've got a 2-second gap to AO Racing and Era Motorsport, but Scott Andrews will be an awfully difficult man to pass at the moment. We'll make that decision in the next 5 minutes for the BDO Nose Strategy Award. And Shea Adam, is there more drama in the closing moments? We knew 1 or 2 of the teams were going to be close. I'm keeping my eye on the energy of the GTPs. Mathieu Jaminet is down to 15%. Is anybody panicking at the moment?
The 01 Cadillac is up on the wall. They're ready for Bourdais.
Oh, they're off.
Need to come in, and tires.
They're off. He's gone off at turn 5. He's looped the car. So maybe, well, was he
been really struggling?
Contact? Yes. Yeah, I thought there was going to be contact. It's the rear tyres that have given up there, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And
he was losing a lot of ground to those top 4. He was losing, last couple of laps, losing a couple of seconds to that top 4. Fell back into the clutches there of the number 5 car, John. And they've just got no grip at all. Oh no!
And into the pits for the number 12.
Leading the class.
That is the leader of the class, the Lexus that leads GTD. And this is Parker Thompson. Shea Adam is down there.
This is going to be a splash of fuel only. The refueler was sitting casually on the wall as if maybe he might possibly be needed and called into action. Didn't realize that he would be needed before the end of this race. 3 minutes short as the debris is still on the right front of the car. Nobody addressing that. All they needed was about 3 seconds worth of fuel.
Oh my goodness. There's people who pitted at roughly the same time as that car. Hashtag Michelin PRT, by the way, for our post-race tech show. once we finish with the World Feed TV over on RS2, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels. So that means Robbie Foley inherits the lead for BMW and for Turner Motorsport in GTD. It's Surrey for Conquest Racing in Pro. Brian Sellers
does
for
he have enough fuel?
second. Well, exactly, Jeremy. Exactly. They were in at the same time, weren't they? Pretty much. My goodness me. Inception Racing and Frederick Schandorf is only half a second behind Foley. There's still a battle going on there. Kenton Cook for Courtney Preston is going to be on the podium here. If he can hold on ahead of Phil Ellis and Winwood Racing, that's another good championship contending victory, finish, should I say, for Winwood Racing and Phil Ellis. They don't need to be winning here, but they're picking up good points for the championship, with which they lead handily. Only 9% for Mathieu Jaminet as he crosses the line. Oh my goodness. And we remember, we had a front row lockout by the Wayne Taylor Racing Acuras. This season, we have not had a front row winner in GTP. Are we going to hold that streak, or can Ricky Taylor do something? The white flag is out. It is the last lap with 1 minute and 11 seconds to go, and there's traffic everywhere. The leader, Mathieu Jaminet, goes through the first corner. The second place car isn't able to follow through. Here comes Ricky Taylor as he's up into third place ahead of Jack Aitken. And off for the caught-off car. That's number 32. That's Kenton Cook, third place. And he got hit. I think that was Phil Ellis who bumped Kenton. I don't think it was one of the prototypes coming through, but it's a melee,
Taylor.
It's a fist fight. And Ricky Taylor drives into the back of the second place Porsche and almost takes him out. Now trying to go around the outside of the 66 Gradient Acura and Stephen McAleer. Taylor's on a mission. We've seen this before. So that, I think, brings up Stephen McAleer into fourth position, maybe third. It depends if he got through when Kenton and Phillip came together. This could be a podium position for the Acura. Last lap. Oh my goodness. Going through the traffic here. This has been absolutely stunning. We've seen this before at this place. It could be a drag to the final checkered flag. Jack Aitken's not out of this either. Second place definitely still up for grabs. The lead and the win will go to Mathieu Jaminet, but it will be a drag up the hill, and who gets out the final corner best? Oh, that's brilliant from Felipe Nasser. He puts one of the, it's Roxy he's put between, and here comes the 31. This is Jack Aitken with half a chance, maybe a quarter of a chance to get back on the podium. It's going to be a 1-2 for Porsche Penske Motorsport. Another brilliantly executed run for the 963. And Philippe Nasser will follow home his teammate, Mathieu Jaminet. I am absolutely... Can we keep going? Don't stop now. Oh, what a shame we didn't have more green flag racing. The checkered flag is out and everyone is slowing down. Oh, if only we'd had a bit more green flag racing, Jeremy, because through the traffic, that was sensational.
Well, that last lap, the lap time for the leader, 1:58.9. He was doing 52s, 51s a couple of laps ago. That's how much traffic he had to work his way through. Wow.
Incredible stuff. And let's get a word with the winners. Roger Penske has been running the strategy. He looks cool as a cucumber as ever. Shea Adam, Porsche, Penske Motorsport, another 1-2.
Another 1-2, and they swept the weekend in IndyCar. But Nick Tandy, it's been a little while since you've won at Road America. 2015, went on to help somebody win the championship that year. This year could be yours. How does it feel to win here again?
It's awesome. It's awesome. You know, to get 1-2. You know, we're missing someone special this weekend, and you know, hopefully he's watching what's going on. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But yeah, this one's for Zach. it's just, to come from the back to the front with both cars, to win it on strategy and execution rather than pace, it's absolutely mega. So, yeah, loving it.
Congrats, Nick.
Well, Jeremy Shaw and Shea Adam both mentioned that car for the BDO No Strategy Award. They have their reward in the overall race victory from their teammates, just 0.3 of a second behind. And Ricky Taylor, what a drive back from 9th at the restart to, I think it was 5th at the end of the first green flag lap. Just incredible stuff. And Ben Viscal for Proton in 5th. Timon van der Helm. So Porsches, we had all 4 Porsches in the top 6 there. LMP2 United Autosports with the number 2 Ben Hanley and Ben Keating. Team award for enthusiasm and endeavour, absolutely, for team number 2 United Autosports USA, putting that car back together. But the BDO No Strategy Award to the newcomers in 2nd place, Scott Andrews and Jerry Crouch, the JDC Miller Motorsports, not put a foot wrong, kept themselves in it, did the driver changes spot on. So the number 79 LMP2 in 2nd. Paul-Loup Chaton for AO Racing, could have been better for them, could have been a heck of a lot worse as well, but they fought their back. We're back on to the podium. In GTD Pro, Ferrari win from BMW, conquest from Paul Miller, Harter Racing sneak onto the podium at the end. And after a last 3-minute splash in GTD, it's Turner Motorsport who win it. They got their numbers right from inception racing. Our Porsche keys to the race, get your fuel numbers right. They did, both of those cars. And slight error for Lexus. And Stephen McAleer for Gradient Racing, along with the rest of the 66 team. And Sheena Monk, well done to them. They get a podium ahead of Phil Ellis in 4th position, who had a little bit of a coming together with Kenton Cook. I don't know whether that will be had a look at. And by the way, the Triazi car did go behind the wall at the end of the race as well. Let's go down to our winners in GTD Pro. Here's Shea Adam with Conquest Ferrari.
Eric Beckler, you decided to bring out a 2nd car for this weekend at GTD Pro with 1 goal only, and you accomplished it. How difficult was it to make it to the end on this one?
Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, honestly, both drivers did an incredible job. I mean, I never met Giacomo Altoe until last Thursday. So it was highly recommended by Albert Costa or the driver. I mean, both drivers, have done an amazing job. I mean, obviously, we know Daniel, and we know Daniel is one of the very best in GT, but this is the first time that we enter 2 cars, and the second time we enter GTD Pro. So during the race today, I can't believe it. I mean, I'm so happy and so excited about it. It's amazing. But I mean, the team did a fantastic job, and when you want to do a car like this, you have like 1 shot, and we managed to do it. I can't believe it. I'm so happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Don't you love the emotion that we get in IMSA? Absolutely incredible stuff. Thank you, Shea, for that. Just to go back through to GTD, by the way, Gradient Racing and the Acura, that is their first podium since the PLM race win in 2022. And that is a great result for Stephen McAleer and for Sheena Monk. Turner's first win since mid-Ohio 2022. And Shea Adam will try and have a word with them. Don't forget Michelin post-race tech to come at hashtag Michelin PRT. Shea Adam, where are you at the moment?
I'm hiking down toward the podium as there's an errant Michelin tire bouncing off of a trolley cart, but that has been recovered. Yeah, got to go all the way down to the podium because Turner and United wasted no time making sure that all of their crew guys got down there.
Brilliant stuff. Jeremy Shaw, some thoughts from you, and we'll have a quick look at some of the points as well if we've got time.
Yeah, that was well, it was a messy race, but it was exciting at the end, wasn't it? And particularly having to work their way through the traffic. The winners earned their money today. It was super exciting race. If we the points in GTP, unofficially, the number seven car will retain its lead, but now up into second position will be the sister car, number 6. Exactly 100 points behind, I reckon, 23.86 to 22.86. Third place will be the Cadillac 01 car, despite that problem towards the end there for Sebastian Bourdais. Boy, they struggled this weekend, didn't they, or particularly during the race. So they will retain third position in the points. In LMP2, it's really tight there now. Into Europol by PR1, I think, will take the lead by 24 points over the Riley car number 74 that had problems at the end there. 15.64
Let's
to
go to Shea,
15.40,
Jeremy, and we can
third place is Era Motorsport. Yeah, down to Shea, yeah.
It's a double Ben victory. Ben Hanley, Ben Keating. First time you guys have won together. How good does this feel? Ben Hanley first.
It's great. You know, we've had a lot of pace this season, but we've just not been able to show it through unfortunate yellows, mostly. You know, avoiding other people or not, as it seems. Through no fault of our own. So you know, we thoroughly deserve this one. You know, we had great pace. We made a couple of moves on restarts, and those restarts were the most important thing for the race. So, yeah, fantastic.
And Ben Keating, a year since your last win. Can we make every race at Road America?
That would be wonderful. I would love to have every race here. You know, because I enjoy racing here and because I enjoy the concession stand and the coffee shop. You know, but I'd love it here. But you love the tracks that love you back. I have had success here, and I mean, I'm just so proud of the team. After rebuilding the car from me crashing it to qualifying on the front row and then being able to bring it home. As Ben said, we've had pace all season, but we haven't had anything to show for it yet. We haven't been on a podium yet, and it's really nice to bring home the win here at Road America. It's been a long time coming.
Very well deserved. Congrats to you both.
Thank you so much, Shay.
And if you guys stay with me, I'm going to try and jump in with Robbie Foley. His crew guys have just arrived, so this is going to get a little bit raucous down here because it's a Turner Taco Night. Been a little while since one of these, as they are hugging everybody. Robbie, it's been since Mid-Ohio 2022 for this category of racing, and it's Patrick's first win. How hard were you pushing for that?
Oh, hard. It's been too long, and we should have a couple this year, but we got one, so this is what counts. And our BMW was on fire today. Really good on the restarts. That's what made the difference for me. I think the pace, once everything settled out, was pretty close, but I could get going on the restarts. And I mean, I've been driving for this team for a long time now with BMW, and it's like a surreal moment to get here to deliver a win for these guys, seeing the checkered flag, and just got to thank everybody that's gotten me here. Matt, Vin, Will, everybody, BMW that's put the trust in me to do this, and monkeys off our back this year. We're going to keep pushing for more.
Patrick Gallagher, first race win, and now in with a real shot at this championship. How good does this feel?
Yeah, it feels great. I'm just happy for all these guys here behind me, working this shop and on this race car every week and bring a fast race car. Robbie did a fantastic job. They make our job easy, and just happy to get a win for Turner and BMW and Bellhaven Investments, Liqui Moly. Everybody, just it's overdue, but just thrilled.
Tacos tonight.
Yeah, it's a bad day to be a spotted cow.
He means the beer, not the ruminants. Jeremy Shaw, we got through the LMP standings. Let's have a quick look at the GTs.
Yeah, GTD Pro AO Racing will retain its lead, but cut a little bit. 22.56 for number 77 car. That's Lauren Heinrich in terms of the drivers alone now, of course, over Ross Gunn. The Harder Racing Team 023, Aston Martin on 21.80, so 76-point advantage. In the GTD, the Winward Racing Mercedes, they've still got a pretty comfortable, but it's certainly been trimmed by 70 points by Turner Motorsport, who are much closer now in second position, and they are now well clear, well over 300 points clear of third in class, which will remain the quarter off Preston Motorsports car number 32, the Mercedes.
Jeremy Shaw was alongside me, John Hindorf, in the Ford Performance Global Performance Centre. Shea Adam doing the hard yards down in the pit lane. Do you know, every time we race at Road America, we talk about how long the track is and how that changes everything. What it doesn't do is change the quality of the racing. Was it a bit untidy today? Yes, but we did have 47 cars out there, and we've had a great race. Congratulations to Penske Porsche for winning the race and locking out 2 of the 3 podium positions. We'll do it again in another long race when we all back together again at Indianapolis for the 6 hours. For Jeremy Shea and the rest of the team, bye-bye.